is time for the Rantcast to return in 2025. Hope I didn't scare my neighbors too much. Well, it is with quite a bit of regret that I just want to say that Strange Bus will not be here tonight. He's got a family emergency, so we wish him and his family well. Again, sorry about that, and he sends his regrets. Hopefully we'll get to see him again soon here on the show. It's not the same without him, but of course, if you want to check his stuff out, it's The Strange Bus on YouTube. Also, The Strange Bus on twitch.tv/The Strange Bus. Check him out. Courtesy, as always, almost always, is Karl Casey at White Bat Audio for the music. Check out Karl Casey at White Bat Audio on YouTube. And I better be careful of my voice here because it is really hot and dry in this building right now because it's the dead of winter and it's cold. So I hope you all are staying toasty. Hope everybody had a good holiday break, good new year, and hope you're staying safe. But anyway, we're back on the Rantcast Podcast. This is episode 59, One-Armed Level 10 Bandit. And before we do the HeroQuest Power Hour, I just want to address... Oh, thanks, Ribby. Also, welcome to Joe Kozier and anybody else listening to us. Hey, Rob Champ. Hey, we're getting the band back together. This is great. Oh, Bohemyus is here too. Yep. If anybody wants to join us tonight, feel free to join the HeroQuest Fans Discord voice channel known as Quest Talk. The address should be on the screen. Let me know if you have any issues. But if you just want to hear me talk, that's fine. It'll be a shorter show just because it's just me right now. But yeah, cheers everyone. All right, let me just turn Karl Casey down just a little bit there. Okay, so first item. Let me douse the flames here just a second. Yes, we're gonna look at YouTube as we often do. That's right. So we got our usual suspects here. I mean, there are some channels out there, all they do is complain about Dungeons and Dragons. And even though I'm not a super fan of D&D, to be fair, it sounds like they've got a lot to complain about. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit, easy pickings. But anyway, this latest thing was that Dungeons and Dragons is getting into gambling. And people are going to say immediately like, oh man, I knew it. This is pay to win. This is, microtransactions. This is DLC. This is all the crap that we hate. Well, not exactly. So we're bringing some receipts here. So this is from ICV2. Now, I'm not saying I endorse these websites and everything they say, but sometimes you just want to find an article that's kind of representative of the mood going around. So we try to pick something like that. So according to this article, Hasbro signs D&D Gambling license with Games Global. So Hasbro and its Wizards of the Coast division have reached an agreement to license Dungeons & Dragons to internet gambling company Games Global for the creation of gambling games featuring the brand the company's announced. The first release under the license will be Dungeons & Dragons Tales of Riches from Neon Valley Studios in Q1 of 2025. Additional games are also planned as part of the collaboration. Games Global will harness the world's greatest role-playing game to create an immersive, high-engagement slot experience, giving operators a chance to tap into the global fan base, the company said in the announcement. So, and it's really too bad I don't have Strange Bus with me tonight because I think he could give a good perspective on it. But at first I was thinking, well, there's lots of slot machines out there. I mean, I'm not a casino guy, but you go to any casino, presumably they've got everything you can think of, You like Ghostbusters, they'll have a Ghostbusters machine for you to waste your money on. You like the Wizard of Oz, they got that too. They got whatever you want. So who cares if there's a D&D themed slot machine? But what this is telling me is this is not actually talking about, physical slots. This is like online gambling. This is electronic gambling. It's like, I mean, people make jokes about how, only neckbeards play Dungeons and Dragons and it's only for like, people age 50 and up. But I don't know. It kind of sounds like it's, this is a game for ages 12 and up, right? So the whole connection of gambling and kids, it's the same reason why liquor companies and cigarette companies get in trouble because they make a brand that looks a little too kid friendly. And it's like, what message are they trying to send, here? So it's like, okay. Anyway, it's not for me. I guess a much worse fate for a game like D&D would be, yeah, to make the whole thing digital, to make it pay to play, subscription based model, make it pay to win, microtransactions, all that crap. That really does feel like they're marketing gambling directly to kids, which is really shameful and gross. But okay, you like to gamble, you're of age, you got the money, just happens to have a D&D skin. What's the harm? What's the difference between this and I don't know, Top Gun slots or something like that? Star Wars slots. I guess that's going away. But anyway, I just thought, some people are going to look at this and say this is really tawdry. This is dragging the brand through the mud. I don't know. I mean, you always think back to Spaceballs, merchandising, where the real money comes from. Sounds like Watto, but yeah, that's where the real money comes in. So, you got your lunch boxes, you got your t-shirts, you got your socks, you got your sleeping bags, you got your, posters, you got your cartoon, you market your product. But I guess, I don't know. To me, it's like when it's a game, the game should be the thing. Like, yeah, you can buy a baseball cap with like, a chessboard on it if you want to, but that doesn't detract from the game of chess. Everybody knows what chess is. Nobody gets upset about it. But I don't know. Is D&D really not mainstream enough that they need something like this? I mean, you had Critical Role, you had Stranger Things. People know what D&D is. Even if they don't play it, they basically know what it is. It's not just a couple of arcade games, a few action figures, and a Saturday morning cartoon anymore. So I don't know how I feel about it, but I guess I would defer to the real D&D fans, like what they think. Like I think any company needs to cater to the needs of their fan base. Like you have so many companies nowadays with franchises that are, gold mines, and it seems like they're just trying to reach non-fans and like people who don't care about the game. And it's like, is that really a wise idea? I mean, people talk about milking your customers and all this stuff, but I mean, this really would be milking them, uh, taking their last bit of cash at the casino. Still, I'm sure there's people out there that would go for it. So, anyway, they want that Monopoly Go money. Monopoly Go made them 3 billion. Dang, that's a lot. Yeah. So I guess my thought would be if it were just, yeah, you have a few slot machines in a casino that say D&D on them, or I don't know what's that video gambling game that where you press the buttons, something like that. And it's like, okay, it's got a D&D logo on it. I mean, big whoop, who cares? To get into a casino, you gotta be of age. You gotta slip a little bribe to Joe Pesci's character, and then you're fine, right? But when it's online gambling, it's like, it just seems too ripe for abuse to me. Like even more than all the other stuff. So I don't know. Somebody else can psychologize the whole thing, but yeah, I wouldn't go for it. It also kind of screams desperation to me because I don't know. There's certain industries, gambling's one of them, where it's like that's where you go when you're desperate to make a ton of money because people are addicted to it. Uh, and it's like Konami went that route. I mean, I couldn't believe it when Strange West was talking about. I mean, I lost track of one of my favorite video game companies, Konami. It's like Ninja Turtles and X-Men and all that, and it's like now they make gambling machines. It's like, okay, well, I mean, games of chance versus like games of skill. I mean, some video games require more skill than others, but I don't know. I'm always impressed when you take a game that seems impossible at first and then you get good at it and you can impress people with like tricks and stuff that just seems impossible and you're really doing it. Whereas with gambling, it's like, you won, you lost, you won, you lost. I don't know.
Can I
But
add something?
Bohemius, hey, welcome.
How you do?
All right.
Well,
Here's a guy who lost all his money to the one-armed bandit. No, I'm just kidding.
no, I want to add something because gambling, I think, maybe is a little restrictive.
Hmm.
Um, mm, let's make another little example. Chuck E. Cheese. Is it a slot machine for kids? Chuck E. Cheese?
Ah,
Yes,
I
right.
see what you're saying. Put in
So
50 cents
even
and you
even
don't get the stuffed
just
toy.
coin up,
So you try it again.
yes, coin up games. They're always been like, okay, game is a game. You pay your coin, your money to play 5 minutes if you're good, 2 minutes if you're bad. Okay, anyway, it's kind of gambling, but never been a real gambling because you don't put money for a chance. You actually put a little bit. And another thing the D&D did recently, but I just saw some photo. I didn't check and made a little investigation. They produced like three new pinball machine. Okay, for they are completely inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. So is it is possible? Okay, they're just publicizing in that way. Okay, putting their logo in a slot machine, in coin op machine of
Mm,
any kind. A great comeback because it's been years they don't have anything in that kind of ambience.
interesting take. Well, it's true. So the next time after the guy blows all his money, he sees the D&D logo again. It's like that's that damn game that took all my money. Or it's like, oh
Yes.
man, it was so exciting. I can't wait.
Yeah, but
Oh, it's just a stupid
there's
book.
multiple machines
Yeah.
that can be involved anyway. So with another, so physical, online, whatever they just
You
you have
pick
the
up the
Ghostbusters,
you
whatever. You
you
had Star Wars.
yeah. You pick up the hamburger, it says D&D on it. You smoke the cigarette, it says D&D on it. Use the toilet paper, it says
Yeah.
D&D. It's like, I can't get away. What is this? Dungeons and Dragons. Oh,
Yes.
man. Well, can I say
Maybe.
let me say something about your Chuck E. Cheese Showbiz Pizza. Showbiz Pizza was more my thing that I grew up with, the gambling, if you will. Yeah, you play the machine, you're trying to get tickets. You play skee ball, you win skee ball, you get the tickets. To me though, that's a game of skill. Now,
Yes. It's game
it
skill.
it used to be,
Okay.
I want to say, I'm not an expert on it, but I want to say up until a certain point, I can't remember if it was the early 70s, there was a you actually could beat the dealer. There was a book that came out and it's like, oh, if you use these techniques you can win. But now they've changed it and they watch you and they do all this other stuff so that you can't. The house always wins. It's really, I mean, people do win money,
Okay,
but
you really win because you can get
yeah,
there with like thousand of tickets. You spend a lot of money. You get
mhm.
they give you like a little
You could buy that
prize.
you could buy
So,
that prize from a regular store way
exactly.
cheaper. And so it's either because you're a
Exactly.
stupid kid who doesn't know that, or because you're in the moment, it seems like, man, this spider ring is worth like 1 penny, but man, I did so well in skee ball to get this. I always got the
But
spider
is
ring.
it not the same thing of gambling? You understand? This even if you give you the experience of this the game, you have to anyway skillfully gain the tickets. It's so difficult to gain
Well,
those tickets and
I,
actually pay
I will
for the
say
price.
I will say this, Bohemius, not everywhere because there are a few, I guess, pure arcades like run by collectors and stuff where I am. But a lot of modern arcades do mix the gambling games with uh, traditional video games. And yes, they're like really low stakes stuff, so they can skirt around the laws and say, okay, you don't have to be 18 to play this. You've got a stack of coins and the machine is like pushing on the coins and you're like, oh, if I throw one more coin in, maybe it'll fall over and I'll get them all. And you do it and it doesn't do it. And you're like, dang it. But some people keep putting their coins in hoping that it's going to tip the scale and the thing's going to fall over. Or there's one where you pick a number. It's like, oh, if you get the good number, you get the thing. It's like, okay, what's the difference other than the stakes? You're not putting thousands of dollars down. They're not giving you watered down drinks. They're not twisting your arm behind your back. They're not giving you a free hotel room. But yeah, it's kind of like that. When I was growing up, the first casinos they had basically were limits. They had limits on them, so it's like you could only spend like a certain amount of money per day. So they were like, oh, okay, But then at some point the laws changed, and it's like, okay, then you bring the high rollers in, the people that are really like, yeah, the real thrill is loss and win. I guess I take issue with the whole video game comparison. Like I'm talking like classic arcade games, like from 70s, 80s, 90s, even into the 2000s. It's like when you put money down for those games, you're strictly paying for the game. You're not expecting to win anything. So you're not wagering anything except you just put the quarter in and okay, you get entertained for a while. And yes, it is skill based. Yes, you could say there's some games where it just feels kind of like, they call them quarter stealers or quarter munchers, quarter suckers, where it's like, okay, the final boss seems impossible. You're just throwing wave after wave of, characters at him until, oh, he finally died, or whatever. But yeah, it's close. Some games are closer than others. So there were Dungeons and Dragons video games, as we know. There was Shadow over Mystara and Tower of Doom that Capcom did in the late 90s. I could pull up some footage, but I trust people are familiar with those games. They're fun. They're good.
Yeah, I was about to mention them.
Yeah. Well, if you know about Golden Axe, it's kind of long. It's more like Final Fight, except that you've got lots of weapons and items.
Yes.
There's little funny voice samples. Like I want to say, like the paladin, he says, "I get pissed," right before he attacks, and you're like, "All right, I got it." Like a kid role playing. Yeah, Final Fight's a good game, but yeah, Capcom made a lot of other fighting games along those lines. I really liked Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Aliens versus Predator. I think it was just Alien versus Predator at that time. You could be the Predator. There was two different Predators: the Hunter, the Warrior, and then there was a guy who looked like Dutch from Predator, and then there was this woman with crazy hair, and she had a sword. So it's like, sure, why not? Yeah. So D&D. But anyway, yeah, some people I think have no problem with this. It's just another way to make money. It's just another way to get the brand going. Other people see this as a slippery slope, like, oh man, this is just going to be more crap. But you could say, hey, the board game, the role playing game is untouched. It's just the brand license. It's just the imagery. I mean, I'm not saying I want them to make, a HeroQuest slot machine, but what would a HeroQuest slot machine do to the actual game? Nothing. It's just the use of the brand. Just like you say, like a Star Wars pinball machine. I mean, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. It puts the brand in your head. But yeah, I guess if the product sucks, I don't want to be associated with it. Like, oh yeah, HeroQuest, man, that was an absolutely terrible taco, but a great board game. So just because you didn't like the taco, don't think the board game isn't good. If you hated HeroQuest the toothpaste, HeroQuest the flamethrower, kids love that one. You got the game. Well, we probably have a lot more topics if Strange Bus was here, so I think we should just go right into the power hour. Are you feeling it, Bohemyus?
Sure.
Thanks for joining, by the way. Yeah, so we've got lots of stuff that happened. So I was about to leave on vacation to hang out with my family, and a bunch of news broke. So as a lot of people are already aware, Wizards of Morcar and Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, Joe Manganiello's formerly Mythic only exclusive proprietary quest pack, have been confirmed unofficially because they were on store websites, not from Avalon Hill's mouth, but I believe it. I think it's real. You and I have talked about it, and here we are talking about it again. But there was a couple of threads on
Yes.
Yield In, and Yield In has a lot on it, so don't judge the entire site by what one person says, but collectively there is a lot of cool stuff on there. So people are talking about First Light as well. Oh yeah, I should say this about First Light. So at one point we thought that maybe, based on one article, the in-store date for First Light was going to in the U.S. at Target was going to be January 1st. Now I'm thinking either that was a misunderstanding, like maybe, or misreporting. It may have been just so. Strange Bus knows this as a former GameStop employee. Like they'll get their games and consoles early. They'll be in the back, ready to go, but they're not allowed to sell them until the official release date, midnight on the day of the pre-order day or whatever. So that might have been what the article was talking about. So for all we know, they're there. Please don't steal them. Don't threaten anybody. Don't be like that. But yeah, people aren't going to get them before the 12th, at least in the U.S., as far as we know. Some people have reported that their cards have been charged on their pre-orders. I didn't pre-order, but people saying, oh, it says the 15th or the 18th or the 20th. So it sounds like people are going to get it after the 12th, most likely. I mean, I just checked out a couple local Targets just to see, no sign of it anywhere. Nobody knew anything. It was just nothing. But if you go to the website, if you go to the Target.com website, you'll see actually the game system says January 11th, and First Light says pre-order sold out or out of stock January 12th. So I guess I'm thinking best case scenario, yeah, we get the game system and First Light from the website, and then possibly at some point those out of stock listings will go to the website. So Jungles of Delthrak, Against the Ogre Horde, Path of the Wandering Monk, Hero Collection, and then maybe someday they're all on the shelf and you could just walk in and get them, and you don't have to worry about some scalper guy coming in with a shopping cart and just like sweeping them all in there and then selling them on eBay for double, triple, quadruple the price. So it's a good sign, but I couldn't wait, so I went ahead and I made my own Caverns board. I printed it out, so I'm ready to play it at any time, even though I don't actually have it. And you can play it in the app, as we know. All 10 quests were restored to the companion app, version 4.3. So the spoilers are in there. Of course, you can't read every single thing from the quest book, but it's pretty much all there. There aren't very many surprises that I've seen. Just wondering about the color of the dice. It's a very minor, small thing. Anything you want to say, Bohemius, about First Light before we dive into Wizards of Morcar and Crypt?
Oh, well, no, my copy is scheduled to arrive the 20th.
Okay, you're
Uh,
20th to wait. Yeah.
yes, just waiting on. No, yes, we had some report at the beginning there of people saying the 1st of January, and that give us a little bit of an optimistic view on the fact that could have been released for Christmas, but no,
Yeah.
didn't happen.
So if you happen to get a Target gift card or money from Grandma
No,
for Christmas, then yeah,
no, they're really trying to release. Okay, as it should be. Okay, it's an important release for them. Really,
it
it's
is.
going to
It is a big
it's
deal,
going to double the number of customers for
probably.
sure.
So we got this website here, Gildaz.com, and it shows the First Light dice tray, the First Light dice tin, and it's funny because obviously you look up First Light and you get light colored paint. This other unrelated game called First Light. Uh, yeah, but anyway, so yeah. One of the posters. Okay, so this is Lesto Dante. People may remember him. English version is planned to be released on February 20th. So that'd be the UK. German version on March 4th. Spanish version on May 1st. Dates taken from Hasbro Pulse pre-order. I've read somewhere the Italian version should arrive on June. I'm not going to fact check him on that. It sounds about right, unless the page has changed. He posted that today.
Restaurante, yes.
Yeah.
Restaurante is Italian, and yes, he's following that part of the market.
Yep. Yeah. So, what are your, I guess, now that we know pretty much everything, what are your final thoughts, would you say, on First Light? Positive, negative? Anything you're wondering about?
Positive, very positive.
Hmm.
I believe it's a great starter set. Okay, economic, and everybody can have it. Okay, it, I really like the fact they put the stuff in cardboard. We already discussed a long time ago. Yeah, I really hope they put the miniature in cardboard
Hmm.
so they can put more stuff. Okay, and, I mean, it's a complete set in a medium box. The way that you want to expand the game, you just buy any little expansion, like you said recently. You can replace the cardboard easy. If we had to get all the stuff in plastic for us, would be just doubles. A lot of work. You don't need too many orcs to play in HeroQuest.
Yeah, but don't you remember the Bardic broadcast where he said the real way to expand HeroQuest is you go buy yourself 3 copies so you can have Gravity Land and all that.
I never believe that.
You want the expansions because you
I
get new content,
I
right?
want to expand for me
Mhm.
content. Yes, it was very important. New monsters, new rules. That's the part that I really like
Mhm. Well,
on the new expansion.
because Keller's Keep Return of the Witch Lord gave you more of the figures, so it's like you've got the luxury. You're not going to run
Yeah,
out. It's nice to have a big pile of mummies that you can go. Ha ha! You think I'm going to run out, do you? Wrong. And you can make a bigger
I,
quest if you want to. It's easy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. For example, I'm not happy if they're going to put the same um, the same mercenaries in Wizard of Morcar. Well, we can talk about
We'll,
later.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I did want to just kind of jump
Mhm.
on this topic here because I'm really tempted while we're waiting to just go ahead and print these out. Um, this is Hispa Zargon sharing this. So in 1993, Estrela was the company that got the license for HeroQuest in Brazil using the Portuguese language. And for a long time, it was, I guess, hard for people outside of that country to find scans of it. I'm not saying we're doing the right thing here, but we are preserving history. So if you are curious to see what this was like, I'll just give you a couple samples here. Let's see, can we see this? Nope, I got to share it in the other window. Second here. So I'm sharing the Brazil version because it has some interesting, um, I don't know, connections, inspirations, you might say, with First Light. So it
Yeah,
basically shows you how you can make a somewhat more cardboard Hero Quest. It was also unique because it used the North American rules. And I think you and I were talking, and I couldn't remember if it was Morcar or Zargon. It's Zargon in this version. So, yeah, I mean, obviously in the Portuguese language, you got
so I
Zargon.
imagine also the rule set is more similar to the American the rule
Exactly.
set.
Whereas
Okay.
all throughout Europe, I mean, it was different. You had the different ways of searching, the different body points for the monsters, different terminology. It was Morcar, not Zargon. You had a different design of the character sheet, different types of artifacts. Some of the quests were laid out differently. There was, as you've said, more competition. You can attack one another. You can steal each other's gold, basically, if you want to. Um, so it's a totally different game. Whereas this is basically the same thing. Now there's some changes. It looks like they did a lot of cost saving stuff here. So all this stuff that maybe would have been on the GM screen is or on the armory board is just right in the booklet. So we get these interesting little illustrations. It's really cool to see this because I had never seen these until maybe a year or two ago when it was first posted. So you get these cool drawings, which some people could grab that and make cards out of those if they wanted to. Also, you've got let's see, these are the character boards. Ah, come on. It's going to do all this stuff. Nope. Broken link. Someone will have to tell them about that. Sorry, these were shared from another site. What I wanted to look at was, oh yeah, the miniatures. Where are the miniatures? Cardboard miniatures. Okay. These are download links. Is this going to work? Oh, okay. So these are actually modified. This is not how they looked originally. But the main thing is the artwork. See how you've got, just a picture of the dwarf, and it's the same image on both sides, and it's a white background. So all the person did here is they added kind of a quasi 3D looking stone base. Originally, it just would have been just a white cardboard standee, and you would insert it into a plastic base that was very similar to like the doors. If you want a comparison for the modern version, the Mage of the Mirror mirrors, or Rise of the Dreadmoon mirrors, come in these little gray, like U-shaped plastic bases. You basically just had a ton of those, except they were smaller. And so you've got the different heroes in cardboard, and these could be used by people who have the miniatures as like a painting guide if you wanted to. And then these are ready to print as well. So you got the orcs. Again, this is from 1993, so I'm sure Avalon Hill was looking at these when they were designing their new version. Of course, it's all new art. But you see how you've even got like the different variations of the orcs. Now with First Light, I think there's only 2 designs of each monster that had more than one. So there's the male orc and the female orc. You don't have the other 2. Goblins just got the male and the female. You don't have every single weapon, which is kind of too bad, but it leaves some surprises for people who want to upgrade to the big box, the big expensive box. But yeah, back to the Brazil one. Here you've got your goblins. Love that. Your mummies, your zombie. Yeah. I think these are great. I think it's great that somebody preserved these because, yeah, you could look at it as, the Brazil fans got screwed over. They got the cheap stuff. They didn't get the cool plastic. And as soon as they could, they threw these away and got the real ones from some international store. But you could be nostalgic about these possibly, and like you say, you can fit more in the box. It's cheaper. You want to print your own. Oh, the thing got bent. Well, you can easily print another one. Just throw it on the board, as opposed to 3D
You
printing
know,
something that's not going to be as strong.
you can also get an entire set of plastic furniture, almost entire. Just getting the Mage of the Mirror and
Pretty close.
in
Oh,
the
the Dread Moon.
moon,
Yeah,
the Dread Moon. Yes, there's a lot of the Delven furniture, so
yeah.
you can complete the set even
You're just
avoiding the. You're missing the doors, but
You're missing the doors, the torture rack, and you've only got one table, but it's a big table.
yes, but you got a lot anyway
Hmm.
to work with.
Oh yeah. And there's also
And who knows? Maybe they're coming more furniture in the next expansions.
it's always possible dwarven furniture. Well, we've got the ogre throne. That was something.
Yeah.
So Brazil also saw the release of Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord. They did not receive Wizards of Morcar, however. And now there were these Brazilian magazines. So Drago Brazil had a whole bunch of stuff, new heroes, new quests. I don't really consider those official though. I mean, I think those are fan productions, and that's fine. And it's cool that people have preserved them because it's like, yeah, maybe you remember that magazine back in the day, or you wanted it and couldn't get it, and now you can get a scan of it, and it's been translated into multiple languages, and there's all kinds of stuff. There was something else in here I was trying to find. Components assembly. Oh yeah, some of the furniture was cardboard. So check this out. This is what I was expecting First Light to have. Like I thought that it was going to be papercraft like this. So this cardboard furniture, you actually fold it up and it stands up. But notice how it's only 2 pieces. So you got the sorcerer's table, or some people call it the altar. It does kind of look like an altar, and then the tomb. Um, Whereas the rest of the furniture in the Brazilian version was plastic, so it's just the same weapons rack, same throne and all that. Half cardboard, half plastic, except for the weapons rack, and the doors were just the same. But yeah, First Light has the circular, transparent bases, clear plastic bases. So, but you could still make some of these if you wanted. Just print it out, cut it out, glue it to some chipboard, fold it up, ready to go. So that's First Light. So we'll probably have some video. I mean, other people have done unboxings. Always Bored Never Boring, Gorilla Miniature Games. Yeah, we've seen some stuff.
Always yes, always bored, never boring. Make me notice a detail that I didn't notice before. Then on the on the Dungeon Master screen, they still have the art of the first of the first cover, the AI art.
Perpetual cover.
There's yes, you can see the four characters in. Is in transparency. You don't see it too much, but you can see that they still.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't have that picture to queue up, but yeah, there's kind of like shadows or so maybe they couldn't. Maybe they couldn't. Excuse me. Maybe they couldn't change that. But
no.
Yeah.
Probably they didn't notice.
Maybe so. Yeah. For Second Light, they'll get it right. All right. Well, our next part of the HeroQuest Power Hour, we will talk about these new expansions. Well, Wizards of Morcar. So there's a big long thread once again on Yield In. Wizards of Morcar / Zargon. That was the compromise. Because a lot of people will remember that there is, and the funny thing is, like Phoenix's recreations of some of these quests are so like popular and influential. Some people, including myself, at times have been confused by them. Like I'll say that's not what the rules say. That's what, and then it's like I'll quote something. I go, wait a minute, that's from Phoenix's version. That's not from the original. Like because he tweaked stuff, he changed it, he altered it. So his idea was to convert all the stuff to the North American rules, even if it wasn't written that way originally. And he made a couple mistakes in the process, but it was, pretty good. And it was easy to print out, like as a one sheet if you wanted to do it. So at one time or other, I printed them all out. And some of them I played and some of them I haven't. But usually as you play, you're like, wait a minute, this is kind of weird. I'm not quite sure. So you may want to use your skills as Zargon to kind of figure it out how it really should be, because not everything translates perfectly between the two different rule sets. So let me just bring up his page just to show you what I'm talking about. I mean, this was what we saw basically 2012. We're looking at, he has all this stuff on here. I mean, anybody who follows HeroQuest already knows this too. But so we've got Wizards of Morcar over here. This is clearly not the original. This is clearly a mod. This is a fan-made thing, but it's called Wizards of Zargon. The store leaks, however, call it Wizards of Morcar, which is the original title. So even though he has kind of retooled this to look like a North American release, it might be a glimpse of what we could see, but the only problem with that is this is not in the style of the remake. The remake edition, for all we know, is going to change lore. It'll change rules. It'll spoilers. It'll retool these quests. It might mess with the body points and so forth. So we could see a lot of changes. So I'll put you on the spot there, Bohemyus. What do you think they're going to change in Wizards of Morcar? I mean, we already know some things. It's probably going to be at least 10 quests, right? But beyond that, what are you expecting, or what are you hoping for?
Hoping. It's hard. It's really hard because I don't believe they're going to change much.
Much. Okay.
Okay, they're going to add stuff. Okay, like they did with Yoga Org.
Yeah,
They
they added
uh
quite a bit to that.
they add that, yes, but they actually didn't change much. In
Sorcerers
general,
stayed one body point.
everything is the same.
Yeah.
Everything is all the same. Well,
The
yes, of
dwarf
course
makes
they
the
changed.
traps disappear by searching, right? Or different.
They changed. They just adapted. Okay, but that is the only thing you need to adapt. You need to adapt the stats of the characters. So the probably the stats of the wizard they're going to change. Do you have the card um, of the wizards?
Oh yeah.
They could because and the card is. I actually would like if they create a little deck of cards just for this big wizard just for them. It's kind of nice. Okay, even if we have already, but they become even if we have already copies of that card. If they have like another back with the image of the wizard, they make that like personal, a little deck for that wizard. So when you pick up the wizard, you don't need to go and search the spells. You already got your little deck of cards.
And when you say little deck, do you actually mean like little cards like they had in Gloomhaven, or you mean just like
No,
few cards?
their own cards. Okay, I call a group of cards. I call
Okay.
it deck. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Not a diminutive, not a shrunk down.
No,
No.
no,
Well,
no, no, no.
it's
Well, what I mean, if they have their own personal icon, okay, on the back, because you see, for example, this the eye mage spell. You got this spell, escape, madness. Okay, some of them are they already exist in
mhm.
uh in our uh deck of dread
Yeah.
spells.
Rust is very
Okay,
different, for
but
example.
but
Can destroy any
if you have
equipment. Yeah.
this deck of six card,
Mhm.
okay, specific with their back. You don't need. What I'm saying is, you when you want to play that NPC, that mage, you just take without searching the all your collection to find the specific spell that goes with
Ah,
him. You already got. You can find them just searching on the backside.
it's kind of funny because you're recalling a memory for me. So I have a family member I play with, really great Zargon player, and I've played some of not these quests, but some other official quests with him before, and he's got a big stack of chaos spells. He just grabs a few at random and uses them. It's like, no, don't do that. I don't know what they could be. They could be something horrible, as opposed to, oh, you got to pick the exact ones that are in the book. And it's great because I'm surprised. It's like, oh crap, there's going to be like giant wolves now.
I got I got a homebrew monster that do that.
Yeah. Well, and
They just ran those spells.
I've seen people run the trial and they're like, well, Virag's the boss. Let me get the chaos spells out, and they just get the deck out, and they're just like, he's going to use Firestorm. It's like, what? It's awesome. It's scary. It's not how it was written, but it's kind of cool. As Argon, you like to do stuff like that. Assuming it's not
It's
rushed
fun.
while everyone dies. No chance. Yeah. So I'm just looking at the different spells here. There are endless threads on Yield In about the different ways that these could be tweaked, because I think there's a sense that, yeah, some of the spells have the same name as ones that are in the American game system or the remake game system. So you've got two Russ, you've got two Fears, you've got, multiples like that. You've got ones that do similar things to summon undead, but not exactly. So do you keep all of them as variants, or do you beef them up a little bit? Do you just get rid of them completely and have a couple extra? You're saying you'd like to see at least you have a deck of unique cards. It's convenient.
Yeah,
You have a
you
different
know, because I want to see
unique.
also the deck of unique card for Morcar.
Ah, yes. So the question is Morcar more than just a name? Is it an actual character? Is it Zargon or somebody else? I mean, and Carmine teased us
I
quite a
believe
bit about that.
it's not, but
Ah,
yes,
okay.
okay, it's just a guess. We don't have enough
Tell me
enough data.
your Morcar theory.
Yeah. Okay, Morcar. Okay, is just it could be a high lieutenant of the army of Zardman. The idea is okay. You don't want to let the name Morcar disappear forever. Okay,
Yeah,
because if it's not even mentioned in this new edition, the name Morcar is going to be completely forgotten.
yeah, it's not right.
Okay, because it's never been. No, so it's not right, but at the same time, it can be like an alter ego, a clone, and whatever, a magical avatar of Zargon.
Yep.
Is doppelganger, but in a way, cannot be Zargon himself. What I'm
Hmm.
saying,
Hmm.
and if he's Zargon, we cannot kill it. That is
Well,
my point.
you can
If
try.
he's really Zargon, yeah, if he's really Zargon, you have to escape, and yes,
Yeah. Well, if
become like the reiteration of uh, the Witch Lord.
if Rogar
You
and
try to kill him in his
if Rogar and his
cage.
legendary companions couldn't destroy him centuries ago, what chance do you have? Right?
Well, there's so many other options. You can banish him.
Yep.
You can.
If you travel east to the island of Neef, maybe you can collect the silver sword, the freeze bow, and the fire axe, and then combine them in a certain order, and maybe you can destroy
Who
him that way.
knows? Who knows? Maybe Morcar secretly know the location of Grimdeath, and
Hmm.
Grimdeath know the location of Zargon. So
Yeah.
you follow the chain of command,
Yep.
and
I was only
you're going
following
to find
orders.
some later Zargon.
There's another one.
But yeah,
You
and
take the
no
mask off.
spoilers.
No,
No spoiler because you
not
passed
good.
me the story, a list of Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. I believe there's
Uh,
a foreshadowing, not a big foreshadowing for
yes, I'm not going
probably
to
could be
spoil the quest that we're playing, but there is a cliffhanger
uh,
ending, very suggestive of something.
extra, and that what makes me think the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness is before um, Wizard of Morcar
Uh,
in their own
timeline.
timeline.
Yeah.
Nobody agrees with me, okay, but I don't know if you understand what I mean because
Well, I do
they're
understand.
talking about
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
they're talking about our location. Okay, I don't want to spoil it too much, but
Right,
it
right.
is very evocative. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. If you're so inclined, read the ending to Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. We should be there in about a month, and yeah, we'll see if you think. Now, it is also possible that they will
I just read
rewrite.
the story that you passed me because I wanted just to localize the map,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
just to understand the
they
map.
they may change the lore as well. They changed the lore when it came to Against the Ogre Horde. They completely rewrote it. Now, yes, they retained the general concept. There's an ogre horde that's trying to take over. Zargon's enticing them to his side and all this stuff. Maybe there's ogre mercenaries out there that would work for the right price, and then sure enough, there are. So yeah, okay. So the general plot of this is Zargon or Morcar, if they're different people, who knows, but gets together these four very powerful evil wizards, who I guess they'll be using dread magic instead of chaos magic, but the same basic idea. And it sounds like he's setting them out to destroy the heroes, but it looks like in actual case, you actually seek them out to destroy them. So you seek out, them one by one. So you've got the high mage, you got the necromancer, you've got the orc shaman, and you got the
and
stormmaster, and
and
then
that
you
is
fight them
part of the
all.
story that maybe
Yeah.
maybe is that part that this is the part of the story that they're going to change maybe because they already didn't fit the
Well.
prologue. The prologue was not fitting back then
Yeah.
because exactly you have all the wizard gather and then you had to go search them all around the world.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So that could be a way that they could develop the quest book. I mean, one idea, I can't remember if it was your idea to say it's like Jungles of Delthrak, where there's choose your own adventure. Maybe you can decide who you fight or what path you take to get there. Maybe there would be more quests as you, yeah, corner the guy. Uh, Now he's on the run. Wizard fight. Oh yeah, sorry guys, lots of comments. If you don't mind, I'm gonna backtrack and read these comments.
Right.
Let's see. Ruby says I freaking loved Final Fight. Joe Koger says my grandson works at Target and is keeping an eye out for me in case it goes on the shelf before my order ships. See, I always think of Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad like fighting. He's like, he got two, and there's a huge, mob gets him because they're trying to get the Turbo Man doll. Okay, nice. You got someone on the inside, Joe Koger. Yeah, give us the scoop. Uh, 120 was an inside job. Dang. Okay. Personally, don't mind getting more of the same monsters, says Joe. Ribby says my Brazilian lawyer will be in contact with you. Noted. Those are actually pretty sweet. Add those familiars to First Light. Joe says pretty cool. Ribby says Morcar is a title, a lifestyle, is a desire for more automobiles. I love those sculpts. Yeah, they're awesome. We're going to have two dragons, wizard fight. Yep, all true. All true. I mean, I too am excited about First Light. I too am excited about Wizards of Morcar. I didn't grow up with Wizards of Morcar though. I think the first time I ever heard about it was maybe 2002, 2003, something around there when I was getting back into HeroQuest. It might have even been later, like 2008, when uh, Dwayne Agan's Inn was converted into Yield Inn. But yeah, it's like, okay, Wizards of Morcar, what is this? Oh, it's 5 quests only, and you fight like these really strong wizards. Interesting, you know. And it's like, oh, and I'm never gonna be able to buy it because it's too rare and expensive. And who's this Morcar guy? I have no idea. So, did you ever play it or see it in person, or do you have a copy?
And I don't have a copy, but I didn't play it. But I had a friend. I give it as a gift. This
Oh,
expansion.
that's cool.
Okay, and we play because we were playing the against the ogre horde,
Hmm.
but he was using the wizard as extra monster. Okay, sometimes he
Oh,
was creating the story the way they were jumping in our in our
yeah.
adventures. They were disruptive, very disruptive.
Oh man. Well, our long running joke is, if you don't have a really cool game, find somebody who does, become their friend, get their mom to make stovetop, invite you over, then you can play it. See, it works. But in your case, you actually gave the gift. That's really cool. And you got to combine them, and in many ways,
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
do
When
connect.
I
They
told you the
fall one
story,
from the
when I
other.
went to then buy my copy for me,
Hmm.
the entire store was on fire. So no, I lost.
Oh, like
It was
actually,
was a
it was destroyed.
yeah. There was yes, there was
Oh
this
no.
huge storehouse. They were selling plastic of any kind, and I was there totally for an unrelated uh, I had to buy other stuff, and I see this expansion. I bought them for my friend. They had more. I said, "Well, I'm coming later for mine."
Uh,
When I came back, a couple of weeks after, the place was gone, completely on fire.
oh man. See, we have a thing called a fire sale, but that's ridiculous. Oh man. Of course, a lot of collections gained value that day as they became more rare, but that's too bad. Well,
Yeah, I know
I
that
guess
they had at least 10 cups of fish. So yes,
Oh
I
man.
remember
Well,
like it's
in the next
today.
in the next 12
Second aisle
months,
to the left,
in the
halfway to the
oh man, in the next 12 months you'll have another chance to get it with some added content. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to play it as well. I guess my hope is they keep as much of it the same as possible. But I also have this belief, and I know some people disagree with it, is I feel like Avalon Hill owes a special consideration to the original fans of it, the original fan base. So if they're reading those European forums and everybody's saying, "Man, those Wizards of Morcar, they sucked. They need this change and that change and this change, and this is my homebrew rule," like that should mean something, as opposed to like somebody like me who never played it, never owned it, never even heard of it until it was way out of print, you know. Because yeah, okay, I'm a paying customer, but I think there's still like a special, just like with the remake of HeroQuest, they could have just made it a completely different game and just used the name. But they knew that there were fans out there that wanted it to stay more or less the same because it was really, really good. Like it didn't need very many changes, if any. And so they kept it that way, and that appeased us. And then they were just hoping that, hey, the appeal of the game is going to be so great, and the word of mouth, it's other people are going to want to buy it, even if they didn't grow up with HeroQuest. And then at the same time, they were able to release expansions that were brand new for people who just wanted brand new modern content. And yet, it still felt like HeroQuest. Like when they made Jungles of Delthrak, Rise of the Dread Moon, they didn't have to, but they made connections with the old expansions. They made connections with the draft notes. They made connections with Warhammer Fantasy, even, you know, legally, of course, you know, not tripping on anybody's IP, but it's like it feels like it could have been something that was made in the late 90s, even though it's got the modern art style. So I feel like whatever they're gonna do with Wizards of Morcar, they're gonna take into consideration what those fans wanted. They're gonna make it feel like it could have been part of the original package. I trust them to do that. So that's a good feeling because you can't say that about a lot of rebooted franchises these days, unfortunately. A lot of people have been burned. You know, they say, "Oh yeah, we want to give the fans what they want," and then they give them something really weird and almost like they're just delighting in letting people down. It's really strange. It's really weird. Joe says, "I only ever knew about Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch Lords since I somehow bought them when they came out." Yeah, see, we had Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord as well. Those came out in 1991 though, so I don't remember if we bought HeroQuest just like we got everything at the same time, or if we got first the game system and then really like a whole year later got the expansions. But whatever it was, we played them. I think I played Return of the Witch Lord first. I want to say it was several years later, and I thought it was really hard, but it was really fun. I really liked it. Keller's Keep, I got angry a lot. I almost rage quit the game at one point. That rolling boulder, there were so many cheap shots in it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was at least one cheap shot in Return of the Witch Lord. You probably know the one I'm thinking of, but there was definitely some spots where you're like, "What? I can't believe they did that."
yeah.
Like Zargon's like, "Hey, I'm just reading it straight from the book. This is what. Don't blame me." You know, it's like you sadistic
It is
fiend.
all part of the adventure.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some. Well, you after at a certain point, you think, "Man, my heroes are indestructible. We got this best armor, best weapon. We got artifacts. We got healing potions." We laugh at Chaos Warriors. It's like, oh, and then something destroys your stuff. What? Something just kills you. It just kills you. It's like,
Yeah,
what? Or you can't
yeah.
kill it. It's
Look,
like, I can't believe it.
yeah, to take that quest, like gambling, there's even a slot machine in the middle.
Yeah, they let you think you're winning and they take it away from you. Yeah, but at least in that case, you didn't make it a little more interesting by putting cash on the table. Although I have done this with people. Some family we were playing and it was I can't remember if it was birthday or Christmas, but I had the treasure deck and I had my cards were all sleeved and I had some like Amazon gift cards that I was going to give to the person, but I like slipped them into the treasure deck. So, you know, you turn it over and it's like, oh, it's a gift card. Oh, but it's also a hazard and you took a body point damage because you pull it out and it's the real card at the end. So, all you people out there who want a way to Impress your friends. That's what you can do. Of course, then they're going to play every time. It's like, where's my gift card? Sorry. Gambling. Yep. Okay, Joe had some more comments here. Let's see. Well, yeah, Keller's Keep Return of the Witch Lord, they were actually advertised in the game system. So unless you bought it used, it definitely came with a flyer, at least the North American version, that advertised and it showed pictures. And I can't remember, it must have been Keller's Keep Return of the Witch Lord themselves had another flyer which showed Frozen Horror Mage of the Mirror. But somehow or another, I have flyers from back then. They've got scribbles on them and stuff, and they're kind of creased and they're not perfect, but they show you that other expansions existed. So even if you never went back to the store, it's like, oh, this exists. And there was an order form. And of course, I've heard those sad stories about how people tried to order Frozen Horror Mage of the Mirror, and they got a letter back saying, this is no longer being produced. Sorry.
Yeah, the expansion I bought of Wizard of Morcar and the Ogre Horde, I bought it around the 2000, 2003, 2004,
Oh.
I believe. Okay, not even yes, because I didn't even know they existed. I thought it was complete an accident. I saw them in this place, and I had to take it because we were playing HeroQuest with this guy. It was my friend.
Well,
So
yeah.
I was completely unaware even of the fact that they did those two.
Yeah, I think I had an opportunity to buy those things on eBay, and I guess at the time it was like, well, they're a little expensive, and my brother moved away, so I was like, well, I would have played it with him, so I guess I kind of like lost. Now I wish I'd bought it because that would have been the time, because a few years later the price went up and now it's absurd. But of course now we have the remake, so a little more affordable, and we have 3D prints, even though yeah they're not as good. Joe says, now that I think about it, I think I got the expansions at a flea market when I bought a HeroQuest for $10. Yeah, the time to buy something is right when it stops being popular. Like, Pokemon comes out and people are like, Pokemon, that's stupid. And then it's like, buy it right then and there, because then people get nostalgic. Oh man, why did I sell my Pokemon? Like, let's get it. Oh, Pokemon has returned. Dun dun dun. And you're trying to buy it for your kids. I want Pokemon, Daddy. It's like, oh man, I wish I'd bought that stuff when I had the chance. Then you go on eBay and cha-ching, somebody's cashing in. Rob Champ says, I'm a complete noob. Hey, you're a champ in my book. Sorry, got to make those champ related jokes because your name is awesome. Okay. He says, I bought my first copy and by default my first miniature in February 2024. Month first, board game 2. Well, other than HeroClix. Oh man, I remember HeroClix. Joe says, or Yeti comes up to give you a hug. The cheapest I've seen to Mage of the Mirror was $250. Yeah. It went as fast as it was posted on the auction site. Now I think the lowest price I've seen is $1,200. Yeah. I want to say like 800 to 1,000 is what I see. And it's not worth it. It's really not. I mean, collectibles are worth whatever you say they are, but as a game, Mage of the Mirror, it's got a lot of potential, but it's way too hard. Same with Frozen Horror. I don't know about Wizards of Morcar. Did you? Well, I guess you didn't play the exact one, but I've been given the impression the difficulty's kind of out of whack. It's maybe not play tested enough.
That's why I asked you to show the stats of these wizards.
Yeah,
because
I totally forgot.
I remember they were a little OP, overpower.
Yep. Okay, so this is not the original. This is fan made. Because in the original they have variable body points. Now you face each of the wizards twice. I want to say the first time they have 4, and the second time they have 5, or maybe it's the other way around.
And for us was also more difficult because we normally don't have like caster. Okay, we don't have they were the first caster against us that can actually use spells.
Well, yeah, I guess against the Ogre Horde had the guys. Okay, so this is a fan made thing.
Okay, when you're able to kill everything with 1 body point, and okay, this guy was using the ogres plus this wizard. And like at this point, they got 5 defense dice and 5 body points. Okay, mind points very high, so your spell doesn't work very well.
And they've
You
each got
cannot put
6
them to
spells.
sleep.
I mean,
You cannot put them to sleep.
the Frozen
Yeah,
Horror had 12 spells, but to be honest with you, even if you made it that far in the game, like he's not going to last long enough to use them all.
look,
He's
look at
gonna
the
struggle
Stormmaster,
with it.
6 dice of attack.
Yeah,
Boom.
he's an ogre. Yeah, and he's got magic. So,
And you got magic, of course.
yep.
So
Now,
they're dangerous.
Wizards of Morcar was the first European pack where you could hire mercenaries, right? You had
Mm,
12
yes.
red plastic mercenaries with bolt-on weapons. So you got your crossbow, your
Hmm.
halberd, your sword and shield, which is the scout, and then the big two-handed sword, the Zweihander, the swordsman. But there were 24 weapons, so you could have combinations. I want to say there was a limit though, wasn't it? Just four. Each hero could hire up to 4 mercenaries, but they were cheap. Like they only had one
Don't,
body point.
don't remember the part.
Yeah.
I
Let's.
don't think I ever hire any mercenary.
Yeah. They give you way too many
We were playing
cards
a
because it
year
was just.
away.
Yeah, it was just like they were trying to use up the cards or something.
Yeah, and remember, we cannot stock up in consumables. We can only keep some of the consumables.
That's right. The
Well,
European
we give.
version, yeah, any potions you found in the treasure deck, you have to use them or lose them.
Yes,
You don't get to keep them from one quest to the
yeah, you
next.
have to use it just in the dungeon you are in.
Yep,
They spoiled.
yep. But see,
So
look how cheap
anniversary.
they are. Like 50 for the halberdier,
Yeah, you see, and the other barrier is the
75 for the
crossbow. What
swordsman.
was I think? I think you just pass the crossbow. You roll only 2 dice of attack, or
Yeah, 2 dice.
yes, only
So
two,
it's
not three.
weaker than your regular
Okay,
crossbow.
1 body point, 1 mind. You see how flimsy they are.
Yeah, yeah. Now the Storm Master would be a fool to waste one of his spells on one of these guys, right?
Yeah.
But if you're just trying to scare the heroes, not necessarily like end them, just like the poor lackey, the poor minion gets destroyed. Uh,
Hmm.
he took the hit. You know, he did his job. He took the hit to protect the heroes so they could win the day. But we didn't all come home. You know, hats off. Pour one out for the poor mercenary. Yep, many mercenaries died in the Frozen Horror. If anybody wants to go back and watch our streams. But yeah, I like how happy-go-lucky they look. They're just like, yeah, this is gonna be great.
Die.
Yeah, yeah, we're all gonna die, but at least we got some gold to party with. Yeah. Well, you can get the potion of
So
charm, so you can get a discount when you hire them.
yes, so I believe they are going to tweak the stats for this wizard in a way. At least in the attack, I don't know because 6 dice is really tough.
Yeah, I
But
think
you
it
know,
should be
who
10
knows?
dice, don't you think?
It
10,
yeah,
10.
actually 7.
Yeah, or maybe it would have multiple forms, like you defeat him once, but then he comes
Oh
back
yeah,
and he's got.
yeah, yeah. They could give them like a second phase.
Yep. Yep, that was something that they started giving us in some of the more recent expansions, and it's
I,
a good way to keep
I
the
never
battle
really like
going.
it.
You get a lucky roll and you wipe out the guy before he even does anything. So it's like, oh, he's back again.
I never liked it. I never liked that part. You have the last boss. Finally, a good fight. Bam, and he dies the first 3 skulls.
But what about if you used all your best stuff and then he's still alive? Like, dang it, that was my that was my big moment, and
Yeah,
now I gotta like run away and like poke him with a little dagger. Poke, poke, poke.
yeah.
He keeps healing. Why does he keep
I,
healing? Sorry, too soon.
I heard a group of Italian guys. Okay, against the witch lord. Okay, they all had one of those magic knife. They opened the door and they one shot him.
Man, this it makes me think of those fighting games from the 90s. I'm thinking like Mortal Kombat trilogy, where you just or Killer Instinct. Like you start to juggle the guy in the air with the combo, and you're just like hitting him like hundreds of times, and he just like, what? It's like, let me fall down. Come on, you've already won. You won like 10 minutes ago. His body is just flopping around. Got to get that combo breaker in, otherwise you're dead. It's an infinite combo. So you got the magic resistance, you got the fire resistance, you got the magical aptitude. That's a crowd pleaser. Cast 2 spells rather than 1. Potion of charm, hire up to 3 men at arms for 25 gold coins less. So that, yeah, if they adjust the prices, that might be adjusted too. The potion of alchemy, I was like, who cares? Why is 100 gold coins that big of a deal? But then it was quickly pointed out to me, well, didn't you know in the European version, the whole mechanic about selling stuff back to the armory for half price, that wasn't official. Like that was only in the North American release. So how would you get more gold? You just have, well, yeah, you find it, of course, but you just had in stacks and stacks of equipment that you don't need. So this would allow you to turn, I mean, you could turn a
Yeah.
dagger into 100 gold. That's kind of cool. I always thought it would be a good perk. You know, you find that weapons rack where the weapons are rusty and broken, and there's nothing here the heroes would want. It's like, I'm gonna just throw the alchemy on it, turn it into gold. Or
Yeah. But
what if your sword gets rusted?
that potion of alchemy, they need a little reward for the new edition because otherwise it's completely useless. Well, not completely. You gain something, but uh,
Make it 1,000 gold.
I don't know. Maybe at least 200 gold. Is
Yeah,
the one.
they could boost it up. Or what if they put more than one card in the deck like that? Because there's no. So in the European version, there was a treasure hoard that was 100 gold coins. But I guess in Mage of the Mirror you had 300 gold at a time. But yeah, you could mess with it, make it more
Yeah,
lucrative.
worth a little bit more than the magical aptitude. I don't know.
Use the
Never
whole
liked
spell.
it much because there's already an item that allows you to do that, and a wand, something like this, that
Yeah.
makes you
Well,
cast two spells.
it's a
But
single use, and yeah, you're right. There's only one in the deck, so every quest you could find it and then maybe do it twice because you have the artifact, and then
yes, but in case you don't have that artifact, yes, it's a good compromise to use it. Yes, at the end.
or give one to the
But
elf,
also,
one to the wizard, so they both have it.
it's difficult to cast two spells as a wizard. Okay, because the problem is not casting the spell is have enough for the entire the entire
Yeah,
game.
you want something that gives you
For
a spell
spells.
back, like a potion of recall.
Yeah, yeah, because if you cast two spells every turn in four turns, so
Yeah.
you're out of spells.
Unless it's just a gamble, like back to gambling again. It's like, okay, Witch Lord, ball of flame, fire breath, boom boom, double hit.
That yes, that's your. But
Put
you
him
have
to
to keep
sleep and then
all
hit him with
those
the genie.
spells. Mm,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah,
Assuming
but
you fail.
you see me play the wizard. I don't like to keep those spells because at first I don't know if I'm going to find like a boss.
Yeah.
So I can keep just this spell, do nothing for the rest of the game.
Oh
I
yeah.
prefer to use them
Yeah.
and have a potion to recover a spell, so I can just choose which one of the spell is more give me more value for that quest. I just use them all, and then I got a potion ready in case I need an extra one. And I like to play more in that way than the
Well,
wizard.
there's all
They keep everything.
yeah. Sorry, just gonna jump in. I was gonna say there's quests out there that have like they fake you out too. You think one guy is the final guy and then there's another guy after him, or the multi-stage. So yeah, you used all your magic and then dang it, now I wish I had. Yeah. Now these hero spells. So there's 3 new sets of hero spells. Again, this is all based on the vintage version, which we assume is going to be either kept the same or slightly upgraded in the remake of Wizards of Morcar. So you've got the protection, detection, and darkness spells, which, according to what they say, it's just like, you got fire, air, water, and uh, earth. I almost said wood, but no, that'd be That'd be a different toy line. So it's like, okay, you say, well, I'm just not going to use water, but I'm going to use darkness instead. So the question is, would you give up those great spell groups for these spell groups? Because I don't know if they're
Never.
really that good. I mean, detection. To
Eh,
me, this is
No.
like I would rather it's like, oh well, maybe the elf gets one extra spell and the wizard gets two extra spells, or you get one extra set of three or two extra sets of three or something like that. Because you only got two spellcasters in the
That
original version. Yeah.
that would be better
Hmm.
because they're like, all of them are like utility spells
Hmm.
at the end,
Yeah. So here,
and they don't help much.
so
And
you're
give away an entire set of helpful spell because every set of the original base game, at least one spell is good.
yeah.
Here, no,
Well,
no,
and
you don't
and
have that.
and you can point out that in some editions you've got some really interesting things, like the Fire Wrath apparently doesn't need line of sight, right? You can just
Yeah,
cast it on anybody. It's like I cast it on Zargon, oh, or Morcar. I mean, you know, yeah, these are interesting, but yeah, with at least with the elf, I mean, his spells in the Mage of the Mirror were powerful, but it was kind of like, well, if he stashed a few healing potions, he'll be okay. Like he doesn't necessarily have to pick uh, water or earth like he normally does, because normally I pick that because it's like, okay, he needs healing of some kind. Otherwise, the wizard's gonna have to follow him around and heal him. But if he already has some way to heal himself, then he could pick some utility spells. Um, yeah, but these do feel kind of weak to me. So you've got the detection spells, clairvoyance, future sight, treasure hoard, spells of protection. You've got dispel, get invisibility, and wall of
another thing, another thing that they can do is add more spells. They give you
yeah,
this one like they are, and they give us more.
they could.
Okay,
Yep, I'd I'd buy
if
that for a
if
dollar.
they really take, they're taking ideas from the notes. Okay, they could do the same as Sinister Sorcerers and add three
Yes.
spells for every. Yeah,
Yep. 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 That is a fact. The Lost Wizard Quest pack, the unpublished pack that Kapowski is working on with his team of
hmm
secret ninjas. Like, yeah, you could have a couple more fire spells, a couple more air, earth,
you have more options. More options.
special
That's good.
artifact for the wizard, so he can get more magic. Like other people can get magic, but he can get even more magic. Like, how cool would that be? And then, like you say, you've
Yep.
got okay, maybe you've got decision paralysis, but you've also got more options. You don't feel so bad, like, oh man, I wasted that one magic spell that I needed. It's like, no, I've got another one. You know?
Yeah, you had to also accommodate the elf because
Yeah.
not everybody got the elf spell.
Hmm.
Okay,
That's true. Yeah.
so
They can't
you need
assume that you have all
you
the expansions.
exactly. So if this expansion
Like
give
the
us extra spells,
greatest hits of the
uh,
magic book.
it would be nice if they give us or an item they expand your options
Hmm.
on the spells you can get or directly any spell users, wizard, um,
Yeah.
elf, who knows? Because we don't know which kind of character they're going to put in this expansion. And they could do exactly like they did with Jungle of Teltrak, and they are going to give us the parallel version of the wizard and the elf.
Oh yeah, like
And,
another wizard type character that has different abilities.
and another elf type character, maybe one more magic prone. I don't know, something different, something they change a little bit. You can play the uh, the classic elf, the classic wizard, or the alternate versions of the two.
So you don't think
So
they're just gonna give us the female wizard and just call it a day? You think they might?
I'm not sure of it. Not sure of it because the female wizard it will imply the is like the wizard pack, but it's not.
Well, but to be devil's advocate here, Prophecy of Telor, Spear Queen's Torment. I mean, you could say, well, the reason they put those heroes in Okay, Spirit Queen Stormwind's the only one that actually calls for a specific hero, the Bard. But the other ones, it was just an excuse to get more of the mythic content out into retail, right?
But they
And
are not alternate versions.
oh,
They're
that's
just
true.
the original
You're right.
version.
You're right. You're right. Because they could give us the female wizard miniature and then different cards, which would confuse everybody. As
Yeah.
opposed to the
Yes.
berserker and the explorer are clearly the barbarian and the dwarf with a different sculpt and some different abilities.
A different way to play it. You
Right.
want to play the dwarf, there is a fighter, or you can play the dwarf, there is an
Explorer.
adventurer, there is
Yeah.
an explorer, there is mostly like a real explorer.
Now,
Very, very good in searching for traps, very good
yeah.
to searching for treasures.
Well, and
So,
it gives you
yeah,
option. It gives you options too, because let's say you just really wanted to have a female dwarf hero. You never got it. You missed out on the HasLab campaign. Well, you could always take the female explorer and just say this is the dwarf. Just use the dwarf. Just ignore what the card says and just play it as the dwarf. Or you could take the dwarf, give the dwarf those three abilities, make him really strong. You could do that. So if they gave you a female wizard, yeah, you could use it as a female wizard. You could use it as whatever the new character is, easily enough. That's true. Just like
they let you the option.
yeah, give you the option.
Nobody,
You're not forced to do any one thing. It's
nobody forced.
inspiration. It's
Yeah,
get those creative juices going. I mean, when people were bashing the bard, I was like, yeah, the bard seems kind of silly. But at the same time, like, and that was before I even read about, half orcs and Warhammer Fantasy. And oh, I guess it could kind of work. I was just like, well, he doesn't have to be a hero, right? He could be an NPC. He could be a bad guy. He could be anything, right? Anything you want him to be. So yeah, there's like the
but
intended
they were
way, and
bashing
then
also the druid, but we play it. And it's
yeah,
not that weak.
yeah.
Is it can do a lot.
Yeah, the druid has been pretty good. Now I've had a lot of fun because I bought that dire bear miniature to use as the bear form, the shapeshift. Didn't have to do that, but it was fun. And with the druid, I mean, it was a constant give and take between the fans and then the creatives. I mean, they had one design, people made fun of it, so they altered it. People, yeah, reacted better, but they were still kind of snide comments about it. And then, sure enough,
Yeah,
we get
I didn't like it either.
an improved version. I kind of like the little hobbit with the stick. I mean, it's kind of fun.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
He's 100 times better than the other one. The other one, I don't know, doesn't even look like a druid. They give I don't know,
yeah,
too much tropical.
yeah.
More, it's more
It,
like a shaman. How
yeah.
you pronounce it?
See,
Mm,
see, there we
mm.
go again. Because you could say, well, I was looking at the bard and his abilities, and I'm like, this feels like a cleric to me. So I thought, well, I'll just make him a cleric then. You know, an orc cleric, it could be. Yeah, and so your druid could be a shaman, could be something else. It's a cool design. It's just that somehow the combination of the mechanics from Doug Hopkins and then the artistry from whoever designed which one, I forget now. Uh, if it was Nikki Dawes or the other person, there was like another person on there. I'm forgetting their name. But anyway, yeah, they had the various designs. So somebody was commissioned to do the art and the sculpt, and then somebody else did the rule mechanics. And then it has a name, but it's like you can just mess with those all you want and make it something else. I mean, yes, I would want whatever they give us to be as good as it can be and as playable as it can be. And then if people want to mess with it, you know, it's easy, it's free. Yeah, Treasure Hoard is cool. It is.
Yeah, yeah, I'm going talking about the druid. There's a lot of people that believe the druid should play like a wizard, and with all the limitation of the wizard is just there to actually heal other people. No, it doesn't work. Like, it's very competitive. You need to use the heal on himself
Yeah,
to
yeah.
keep
You've shown
to
that.
keep a charge in the bear form.
Yeah, you've shown that there's a way to play it. That's not like that. It's kind of like. I mean, I've played as the rogue. We've played as the bard. We've used the monk. I mean, a lot of the people just kind of have this idea that, oh, just because you could play it this one way that would be stupid, it has to be that way. It's like, no, it's not. It's just like with the wizard. People complain because they're like, oh, the wizard can't do anything because he has to use all his spells at the end of the game. It's like, well, no, you don't have to. We've had people that played it very differently. Run in there and attack everybody. It's like, okay, well, that's kind of dangerous. But then we've also had people that, yeah, they use their magic a little more strategically. They don't necessarily just hide in the corner all the time. And it seems to have worked. They seem to have had fun. So who's to say
Yeah.
it can't work?
That role of the healer, the support is more the bard. The bard is a real
Because he can
support
heal the
between all of them.
entire. Yeah, he can heal the
Hmm.
entire team himself in one go.
Yeah, but he can keep buffing, can keep doing the
Yep.
like he can use sleep, and uh,
Hmm.
and he's fine. He's a good support spell, but the fact that he can buff with the +1
Yep.
and the next attack and then recharge it, keep using
Yep.
the buff
He's constantly
is a
watching.
great support.
Yeah, and then when
Yeah,
somebody gets a good roll, it's like yes, because now he can get it
yeah.
back, and it's like now he can improve somebody. Yeah, so you're keeping Zargon on his toe. It's
Interesting.
like okay, he gets the bonus. Oh, the bonus is back. Okay, he gets it again. He gets to do it again.
Yeah,
Yeah, as opposed to like the rogue, it's just like well, he always does it because he always has it. It's always on. I guess it's easy to remember.
yeah.
Different styles,
Yeah.
playing styles.
Somebody could argue that the rogue is already the alternate elf.
Yeah, because he
Okay,
is an elf
but
species or race, whatever you want to call it.
but, but there's people that say that
Nothing in
it's
common.
difficult to find the rogue
Yes.
around.
Yep.
Maybe they are going to put the rogue as an alternate elf in the
Sure.
box. Who
Sure.
knows?
Could be, and why not more than one? I mean, two red figures in a box, three red figures in a box.
Yeah,
We've seen it before. It's just a few extra cards. That's it. If you got the space. And I think for Wizards of Morcar, it sounds like we've got the big box, so there could be lots of room. It seems like they want to just pack it with stuff.
yeah, but I believe they're going to do a more spell centered elf if they're going to do it in a way. In I don't know. Something slightly different. I suspect the Wizard of Marker is going to be full of new cards, spell cards for everybody, for the
Oh man.
monsters and for the healers.
Part of me doesn't want to believe that because I just want to set my expectations low. Like I'm not going to expect anything more than what was released in 1992. And if we get more, that's great. But I too would love to see lots of new things. I mean, just like Midsummer
Well,
Horde, nobody expected
with
that stuff. Nobody expected, oh yeah, we're going to get
no,
HeroQuest Kill Team and we're going to get,
the arena.
the arena, a whole set of new tiles that never existed before. We're going to get all
They
the
had to add
stuff.
a lot of stuff. They had to
Mercenary.
fill this box. It was empty
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
You had very little stuff. And yeah,
Well,
so
and the stuff
they
we
have to
thought
do a
we would
big
get.
box.
Yeah, we have to,
Hmm.
and the stuff we thought we would get. We thought we would get new artifacts and new alchemist shop. We didn't get that, but we did get lots of other things. So they surprised us, and it was
Yes.
great. Yep. So Wizards of Morcar,
New
and
quest. I really want the the barriers, the spell effects made in transparent plastic.
oh, that'd be
Those
cool.
one I really want it. I really want a wall of fire, wall of stone, and stuff
Lightning bolt.
in different plastics.
Yeah.
Lightning bolt, yes. But
Breach
imagine
bolts.
a nice template made of plastic,
Oh man.
transparent. Would be
I
awesome.
I'm thinking of if anybody remembers the Star Wars Power of the Force figures. Not the first Power of the Force from the 80s, but the ones that came later, like in the 90s and the 2000s. Like you started to have, like you get the Stormtrooper, but then like it would come with like a little like red like goo like piece of plastic that like you stick to the end of his gun. It's supposed to be like the blaster shot coming out.
Yes.
Or you get the Emperor with the lightning, so it's just like plastic lightning that you stick to his hands and it looks like he's shooting. So when you pose the toy, it's like, oh look, it's the effects, coming out the sparks. Or I guess other toys you get like the alien with like the slime oozing out of it, its face or something. And it's just a sculpted plastic piece. But yeah, you could have stuff like that for the board. We've never had those kind of spell effects. I mean, part of me wants to say no, it should be cardboard because it's kind of like that board game flavor. But it would be very cool to see something like that. And you absolutely know, without doubt, that if they don't give it to us, somebody on Etsy is going to be selling that stuff, right? Somebody's going to homebrew it,
Yeah.
put it out there, 3D
Yes.
print it, whatever, and Avalon Hill's going to be kicking themselves like, oh man, we left money on the table. Or somebody at Hasbro, one of the bean counters up there is going to be like, you guys should have cashed in. To me, though, some of these spells on their own, they're not completely useless because, like with the Summon Undead spell, it doesn't say the monsters can attack immediately. I mean, yes, some Zargons could do it that way. Like, okay, the mummies appear and then they immediately attack. But the Wizards of Morcar spells, it really does say that. It says they get to move, they get to attack immediately. So that is different. And you could say, well, just like with the healing potions, you roll the die, it could be 1, it could be 6, it could be anything in between. Whereas the other one, okay, it's only 4, but it's guaranteed 4. And by the same token, it's like, okay, well, I could get a lot of monsters, I could get some crappy monsters. Okay, well, I'm just guaranteed to get, 2 skeletons or a mummy. Some of the orc shaman spells, it's like, okay,
We're talking about the spell for the enemies now.
Yeah, the Wizards of Morcar. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like one type of spell, it creates the green monsters on the board. The other one, it could teleport them from somewhere else. I think that's kind of
interesting. Yeah, my remark were for the spell for the heroes, because the spell of the monster, of the wizard are very strong.
Yeah, so you think they're strong enough? They don't need extra help, but the heroes need more variety, more strength.
No.
Well, we need something to make them consider the new spells at all, right? Because I think what I was saying is I feel like the new spells on their own are too weak. You're not going to want them. You're going to say, I'll just keep the ones I've got. Unless, you're given some chance to combine them.
Yes, exactly that. Then we got lost at a second there, but what I meant was exactly that. If these 3, whatever, if they add more spells, they give me the possibility to get one of these 3 school of magic.
Mm-hmm.
To keep them, for example, I choose my 3 schools of magic: earth, fire, water, and the elf get air or get earth. Okay, vice versa, and then we can choose an extra school of magic between the other one, the dark.
Darkness, protection.
Would be nice.
Yeah.
Yes, protection. Yes.
Yeah.
So we got like the wizard is going to have 12 spells. The elf is going to have 6 spells. Okay, but they're not going to be extremely game changing because those 3 extra spells are not strong.
I'm imagining all kinds of scenarios and things. What if there was some like artifact you got that could boost a certain spell? Like you put the little token on your ball flame and it makes ball flame stronger. Or it's like you specialize in a certain spell each quest, so like you get like a second level version of it. I don't know.
Would be nice. I understand that also because they didn't expand a little bit how the magic works in the lore, because it just created confusion when they had the
spell scrolls.
The chaos elemental spells. It was chaos elemental spells, not the dread elemental spells.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and then they said, was it Spirit Queen's Torment? They're like, how could anyone possibly use elemental spells with dread? That's impossible. It's like, where were you? It said before the game system.
So the lore needs to be a little bit more accurate in that part. The more the game expanded, more you want a little bit of consistency.
The wizard is rolling his eyes like, listen, you haven't seen things I've seen. Trust me, this is old news. Been there, done that.
So, what I wanted to say is, just in Warhammer, you had that like well-written lore about the spells, how they are divided in school after they found the College of Magic. Okay, so they are all divided. They all have their classification, whatever. Everybody they get specialized in one spell and one kind of spells. Our wizard, okay, in HeroQuest,
Yeah.
we're talking about is most is using three different kinds of spell already. So he's more advanced than was than how was described in Warhammer. So yes, schools of magic. I understand that. Okay, let's create a little bit of order. if we create different school of magic and I can choose like three school of magic, it would be more easy to or expand.
Yeah.
The,
The wizard
the
needs an
easiest
hour
way to
between
expand
each spells. Yeah.
this
Set
spell.
the timer, and
And
it's like by the time the timer runs out, whatever spells you've chosen, that's what you've got to go with.
because if you go analyze the spells from this wizard, they are the enemies. Talking about the High Mage, the Stormcaller, they're all part of the School of Magical Warhammer. So the list of spells they have, they are all inspired by the School of Magic. So yeah, the Storm Master should be Jade. The Necromancer is Amethyst. The High Mage, okay. The High Mage is somebody capable to use all the spell, all the College of Magic. Okay, and then you have the Orc. They use Wog magic. They use the magic of the Orc.
They believe their crappy technology will work, and so therefore it does.
Yeah. In the fantasy part, it was say they have their gods, and they believe their gods can visit them. And they
If someone else picks it up, it's just a piece of junk. It just falls apart. It's like, what? It's ridiculous.
but yes,
Yeah.
so
So there's a lot of
they're all divided by
possibilities.
school.
Yeah. Well, I always love that when something new is in the expansion, and yet it has some corollary proxy or inspiration that you could compare to something in Warhammer and say, well, they didn't have to do that, but they kind of made you, make you think of something that would kind of jog your memory and go, oh yeah, that reminds me of.
Yeah, but they don't in purpose. They want to push you to play Warhammer. So if you put it in the lore or something, they similar. They do it purpose to by similarity, by association. You feel comfortable to enter another game because you already know part of the lore.
Right. And let me stress once again that this Yield In, this is mostly fan-made stuff. I mean, yes, people have drawn inspiration from HeroQuest and other games, but this is not official. So who's to say it would be anything like this? But I'm sure Avalon Hill is well aware of this stuff. And if it was popular, who knows? Don't tell Doug about it, but it might find its way into the game in some form or another, at least inspire something that they create. So I wouldn't be against it at all, because if you just like against the Ogre Horde, if you wanted to play it like the old version, you could just skip the tournaments. You wouldn't have to do the arena mode at all. But it's there if you want to enjoy it, and some people have taken that to the next level and made it its own, thing. So hopefully they give us something like that for Wizards of Morcar as well. All right. So moving on to the next topic within the HeroQuest Power Hour, Power 2 hours, whatever it happens to be. Joe. So what do you think of the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness coming to retail? Just when we thought it was safe, that we were never going to get it, here it comes. After all that Joe-shaped door, Joe's got to decide. It's proprietary. We made fun of him. Take it all back because it's coming out, apparently. And apparently it's going to be a smaller box, judging by the price.
And that is easy. I believe is going to just follow the template of Taylor and Spirit Queen Torment.
So
Same template, same sparkly box.
yeah, shiny foil or whatever it was, and then
Mm-hmm.
recast
Maybe
the
not the
monster
dice,
shiny or
new dice,
plastic.
recast.
Yep.
Yes, another plastic
Dice.
of some kind. Monster, I don't know. I don't have the booklet, so I cannot
Yeah.
can go check.
Lots of people don't
But
have it.
I
Most
don't.
people don't have it. Yeah.
I don't think there's extra. I don't know. Maybe there's some extra monster that is needed
A
for
few.
the quest. They're going to repeat the. Yeah, they're going to repeat the same stuff from the mythic tier in another plastic color.
Yeah. So
And
it calls.
more than that, I don't know.
There's a couple of times where I think there's like I want to say there's like 4 zombies or 4 abominations. A lot of people have taken pictures, so I was just going to grab a couple from the web here. The Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, yeah, it has a big tile sheet. So the other expansions that came inside the Mythic tier for the HasLab campaign did not have their own tile sheets. But as you can see, there's a big tavern, and if you flip that over, there's like a temple. It's like a stone temple with like pools of acid. And you've got these tiles, some of which should look familiar. They're the dread skulls, so they're like little flaming skulls with green fire around them. Those are not the same as the flaming skulls in the jungles of Delthrak. Those are used to just show that somebody's got venom. And I don't think we've even used them yet because it's like, oh, he gets venomed and then it goes away. And it's like, it's just there for a split second, part of a turn. But you've also got these acid pools. You've got these grasping vines, which those reappear in Jungles of Delthrak. And on the original tiles, if you flip them over, it's the same image on both sides. So it's like, what's the point? Well, it's another tool to play with. Now in Joe's quests, he does use Joe Manganiello, if you didn't know, True Blood, and he's kind of a big nerd. Critical Role, he's done a lot of other things. Look him up. Anyway, he did these quests in like some of his early quests, so he uses the tavern tile. He uses the rats for things, which I thought was cool. He got some little cool gimmicks in there. But the other special tiles, he doesn't use them very much. I noticed. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Was
like he used a bunch of Keller's Keep tiles. So he used the stairways and he used the cliff, but he doesn't.
yes.
It's but still, I see that as inspiration. It's like the sandbox idea. Just like there were people out there who didn't like Wizards of Morcar. They said this is kind of a crappy quest pack. It's too short. It's too
Yeah, but
hard.
there's decoration. They can
Yeah,
just keep it
you
as
can go
the
for
leader
whatever.
for the.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with including it because then that's more stuff for you to use to make your own quests. So I think they should include all of it. There's no reason not to. And then of course there was the dragon. Everybody remembers the dragon Venom, not to be confused with a Marvel character, spelled differently.
And I want to point it out. Doug was right when he told you they needed to print the rats in First Light
Because if you
because
buy
they were
First
needed.
Light and then you buy Joe's box, yeah, Doug, you got us again. Got him. Yep. So there's 10 quests in here, and I've so when I've talked about it, it sounds like I'm making fun of him. It sounds like I'm putting him down. Like I'm grateful to Joe Manganiello for lending his celebrity star power to help get the HasLab campaign noticed by more people because he was a big D&D guy. He didn't have to do it, but yeah, so he helped make it happen. And the thing was, his stretch goals were not reached. Like they didn't quite get to the was it the 4 million that they wanted. Nevertheless, he convinced them. He probably signed some exclusive deal, which might have delayed the release. For all we know, we don't know, but somehow he got it released anyway. So the people that pledged the Mythic tier got his quest book, his dragon sculpt, and his tiles, which they wouldn't have got. And they got the other gargoyle, the alternate gargoyle. So thanks, Joe. And now, whatever he had to do to get it into retail, thank you again. So it's great. If I saw the guy in person, I'd thank him. I'd shake his hand. Say, great. On the other hand, though, my understanding of the quests as I look at them is they're a little bit simple. They are kind of uneven when compared to the very high quality that I see with Prophecy of Telor and even Spirit Queen's Torment after the edits. It just seems like his is more like the type of a quest pack that you would imagine that you would design as a kid. You know, you'd have some cool
But
gimmicks, and then
he's designed like this because he's a D&D player. Okay, a dead end for him is just an inconvenience of a couple of seconds in Dungeons and Dragons because you can skip and go back in the place where you are, where you want to be. You don't need to retrace everything, roll dice to do everything.
yeah,
So
it's a role playing game. So yeah, if you were to play it as a role playing game, now that would be interesting. I wonder if he would be
yes.
at Gen Con and be like, "Listen, Joe, can you make this a little more interesting? Let's play your quest, but let's play it as a D&D thing. Go."
Yeah, to do that. And this is unnecessary secret doors, unnecessary red herrings. Yes, I mean we played that. That's my feeling. Until now, we need to play the last quest, but until now was very bland.
Yeah, I want to take
Okay.
that dread skull and I want to punt it through the goalposts because I can't throw it on the ground and just drop my elbow on top of it.
But that's the reason why I thought the major problem to release this the expansion was the need to be redesigned in some parts.
Bohemius,
But
Ruby says you've been echoing. I'm sorry, that was a while back. I should have
I'm
said
so
something.
sorry.
Use the echo. Well, we don't want this to be an echo chamber, do we? Okay, let's just do a quick sound test. Bohemius? Okay, let's just do a quick sound test. Bohemius?
Test, test, test. Let's see if I'm echoing. Let's see. Been echoing for 2 hours. Wow.
Oh, dang.
That's not good. For 2 hours. Wow. Thank you, Ruby.
Sorry, Ruby. I don't know. I mean, it does sound a little echoey, but it just to me it sounds like you're in a cave. It's not like bah, 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 bah. It's just like you're talking through a tunnel. Oh well.
I'm talking to a tunnel.
He's talking through a tunnel. Yeah.
Okay. Announcement.
He rolled up a spell scroll and he's talking through it. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. There was one last item. I almost don't feel like talking about it now, but I did just want to say this. Unreal Gold and Unreal Tournament are now free on the Internet Archive, and Epic says that's a-okay. That's according to PC Gamer. So finally a win for game preservation. 1998 Unreal, people remember that. It was pretty impressive at the time. First-person shooter with a lot of puzzles. And then the original Unreal Tournament from 1999, which was one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Jedi Knight series. I kind of prefer that, using force power, swinging the lightsaber, and blasting people in the face with a concussion rifle when you can. But Unreal Tournament was pretty awesome, doing the headshots and all the taunts and the Redeemer rocket that you could, follow the camera as it goes winding through the hallways to hit somebody. Yeah, good stuff. So apparently they're free, and I guess if it's you're not going to get lawyers coming after you, that's a nice thing. So I thought for the longest time that Unreal Tournament 3 was going to be free on Steam, but I still haven't seen it yet. So it might be one of those games that you can only get through. Is it Epic Games now? Yeah. So I don't know. Did you ever play those, Bohemius?
No.
Well, you like first-person shooters at all?
No, absolutely.
Oh.
That's my least favorite kind of video game.
Oh man. Well, just to give you a taste, I'm going to. Well, we've got you for board games.
I don't, I don't understand. I played a lot. Okay, this kind of games with friends, but they always force me
Oh man.
to play
Oh
the
man.
Borderlands,
We played. So my roommate
Half
and I.
Life.
Oh yeah, Half Life. Yeah, we my roommate and I played Unreal Tournament, the demo. Okay, so this is from Odd Viking on YouTube. Just gonna turn this on. We played this map so much, too much. But it had the slow motion. So it's supposed to be like inspired by the Matrix. You're jumping around. You got this absurd rocket launcher that can charge up like multiple rockets, and it has seeking rockets. It was just like, yes, you could play this or you could play Quake 3 Arena, but Quake 3 Arena didn't go as crazy as this game did. You could get two pistols at once. You had the impact hammer, which was like a jackhammer, but you could charge it up and like blast yourself into the air with it. You got your minigun. You got your ripper that fires the discs that can take your head clean off. And of course, you had the crazy taunts. But yeah, even one-on-one was just really intense because you're like, every time you turn around, he's behind you. And there was the translocator. That was the real wild card. You could throw the hockey puck, and then you could just teleport to wherever it was, and you could like splat people. But then people found out that you could shoot the hockey puck, and then you could take your impact hammer and you could hit it, and it would send the thing like flying, and so you could like teleport to, at the top of the building, and you could snipe people. It was just ridiculous. And at the time, we'd never seen anything like this. Because a lot of these games, like the original Quake, Doom 2, I mean, it was a single player game, but then they just put you in a multiplayer situation. So you were still trying to, get the pistol and then to get the bigger shotgun and then get the bigger gun and then yes, they started having mods like Rocket Arena where you start with a really powerful weapon and you just try to like there was a lot of cheap stuff too. People would spawn camp you and they would hog the weapon and do all this stuff. Get the power up, so you had the quad damage and all this. But anyway, I have a lot of nostalgia for this. But I guess it's kind of like people who play Madden. It's like they'll never get tired of it, and everybody else who never got it will just never get it. Or like you say, you get dragged into games and you're like, yeah, but I'd rather be doing something else. But I'll play for the sake of the fact that we're all playing this. Like me playing Halo, I absolutely sucked at Halo, and all my friends played it so much that they were just awesome. They were just unstoppable. I still had fun, but it was just like, man, if I got even one kill against these guys, I was happy. But back in the day, if we were playing this game, I could have held my own for a while at least. So anyway, great music. We'll probably get flagged for that, audio jungled. So thanks to Odd Viking on YouTube for that. Good stuff.
Yeah, I see it was a huge improvement in graphic in that period. Anyway,
Yeah.
I see the fluidity and everything.
Yep.
It was difficult to find some that kind of game. They, you really need um, good fluidity in that kind of game to actually have fun, because if
Good
everything
frame
is
rate, good
the frame rate
latency.
is bad, you're not enjoying
Lag.
anything.
People would always say that. Even
Lag,
when
lag.
even when there wasn't.
You're like
Yeah.
every time you die, you're lagging.
Yeah. Well, and people would always boast, "Oh, I got the latest video card just so that I can get slightly better frame rate so I don't get killed so much in this game." And it's like, "Okay, you've got the most expensive computer, the fastest internet connection, and I'm still killing you,
And,
so you suck." Or I'm just
yeah,
that
it was,
good.
mhm.
Yeah.
I used to play the old Battlefront. You see,
Ah,
still you can play as an FPS, but you can play in third person too.
third
So it
person.
was
Well, yeah,
more,
that's true.
yeah.
Jedi
more
Knight had the
enjoy.
third person for the lightsaber mostly. But
Hmm.
well, at a certain stage though, yeah, Battlefront had it. You had vehicles in Halo. You had vehicles in Unreal Tournament 3. So vehicles became the thing. Call of Duty, it's like, yeah, why shoot the guy when I can just run him over with a tank or, bomb him with a plane or something? It was fun. But of course, then you're fighting over who gets it. In Unreal Tournament 3, they had the Dark Walker, so it's like the war machines from the War of the Worlds. Like if you get in one of those things, I mean everybody can see you, you can't hide, so they're just like bombarding you with grenades and stuff. But at least you can tear up a few people with your heat ray before they take you down. Jedi Academy had, the ATST, the chicken walker. You could stomp on people, and
Yes.
you had the speeder bikes. You could hit somebody not in a very realistic way, but they would just go flying across the map because you hit them at full speed. It's pretty funny. Or if you could drive past them with your lightsaber out and just like cut them in half as you went by, you thought you were cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I like board games. Board games are the whole point of them is to get people together to have a physical, tangible interaction. And I think that's why it's so weird that we play virtually. And yet
Oh,
we have a lot of
yes.
fun because we have the memory of the board game and we can still see the board game and we know what it feels like to roll
Mhm.
dice and flip cards, even though we're not physically in the room. So I guess there's no substitute for the real thing, but we do the best we can. Because if we were just playing a video game, if we were just playing a digital tabletop, I think something is lost when you do that. It's not quite. It's further
Yeah.
away from the experience, and that's why I think if they do an all digital Dungeons and Dragons, yes, it's possible that kids will grow up and think that is Dungeons and Dragons because that's all they know about. But
They're going that direction, sadly.
yeah, yeah. So it'll be up to us to like try to teach them that hey, you can still have fun. Like the power goes out, we can still play D&D because it's all right here in my book, my old dusty old book. Like, oh,
Ah,
Grandpa, no.
I was waiting for the apocalypse all my life.
Yes, my 20-sided
I can
dice were
finally play with people.
were
People
unaffected
are
by the
going to
radiation.
be desperate
Yeah,
without without their social media. They're to come to me, and I will
yeah,
keep the secrets.
yeah. It's like that Twilight Zone episode where everything's destroyed and he's got a stack of books to last him
The
forever. And his
glass.
glasses break. No. Sad.
No.
Yeah. Yep. So he's got all the D&D books. Yeah. Thankfully, glasses nowadays don't break as easily as they did in the 60s, but still. Wow. Yeah. It's rough. Yeah. So I think I'm definitely more excited about Wizards of Morcar because to me that is like, yeah, the last. It's not the Holy Grail, but it's like the last of the official box sets, other than the more obscure
Yes,
stuff. And yes, I do want to see the Wizard and Dwarf Quest pack, but until that time, yeah, maybe they will sprinkle some more of that stuff in there for us, some more Easter eggs.
yeah, all around in different expansions.
Hmm. And for Crypt of
Hmm.
Perpetual Darkness, I'm most excited for that for the sake of the people that missed out. Those people finally get it and they'll be really happy. And it's like, and then we can all come together and say, Joe, thank you, but we can improve this. We really can. And who's to say that he won't do it? I mean, like you say, and as I kind of believe, they probably will just do tweaks, just fix major problems. There's some issues where like it says one thing, it doesn't make any sense. They probably meant this other thing, or there's no door here. There should have been a door there, or there should have been another note here that explains that, or one of the symbols on the map looks a little off. It's like okay, fix all that, make it streamlined. But it was only 10 quests. If he wanted to make more, he could. I think if they brought him back and he did, you know, put a few finishing touches on it, that would be certainly appropriate. But
Well,
but
uh,
but you could also say it's like the easy cash in. Like it's already finished. You could just release it. This will make some more money. This will keep HeroQuest in the public eye, and then you can use
oh,
that time and funds to make the next original creation, right?
we have we still have the huge foreshadowing that is at the end
Yeah.
of the of the mission that
Mhm.
could be open to a second episode. Could go completely different, but I believe
Beyond
they
the
could do it.
Crypt of Perpetual
Hmm.
Darkness.
Yes,
Yep. Yeah.
out of the crypt,
Out of the crypt. Yeah. Out of the shadows. Yeah. Out of
out
the
of the
crypt.
shadows,
Out of the
toward
crypt.
the towers.
Yep. So Joe comes back to write another one. Well, I mean, I never expected to see Stephen Baker writing another quest pack. Like, okay, he's like, okay, comes back, does Rogar's Hall. That's cool. Oh, he does Prophecy of Teller. That's
Hmm.
awesome. Okay, that's the end. He probably went back to what he was working on, and thank you for your service, and off he goes. Maybe Joe would come back. Maybe he's got a little free time.
Well,
Write another.
for what we know, Baker already uh, told us he worked on a sequel of First Light. So who
Second light.
knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, Second Light.
Yep. Well, and just because they've written it doesn't mean it'll be released. At the same time, that it is written implies it might be released. So,
Mm.
what
Would
if?
you waste
Yeah,
the work of a master?
yeah. It's like, thank you for all that, but here's the door. It's like, no, no. And
Um,
apparently, he's a really humble guy too. That's what everybody says. So that's great, and we appreciate his talent. What if? Okay, let me throw this idea at you, Bohemius. What if you know it was teased, very obviously teased, that HeroScape and HeroQuest were gonna come together in some way.
yes.
But if Joe is coming back and Joe has his feet in the D&D world,
Hmm.
what if there is going to be a D&D connection, and what if Joe has something to do with it? Like what if there is I don't know, a quest that's like set in the Forgotten Realms or uses characters from D&D, or I don't know. There's
It's not
possibility.
necessary because D&D anyway is like an open multiverse. Okay, so depend. You can just add HeroQuest in the world of D&D. It's so easy. Okay, you
Okay.
just add a word and put in their galaxy. That's how the Dungeons and Dragons work.
So what if they released I mean the D&D books, I've seen them before. They're kind of like coffee table books. They're um,
Hmm.
they got illustrations and text and everything, and it's like you could just play it as is, or you could use miniatures with it, maps. You use your 20-sided dice. Let's see, 20-sided, 10, 12, 6, 4. There's a whole bunch of them, and it's like they're used for different things. You can tell I don't play the game very much. I've only played it a handful of times, but what they could do is they could release a D&D book, but when you open up the book, it also has the familiar HeroQuest layout on one of the pages, and it has the quests in the HeroQuest format. Like it could be a dual product like that.
Yes.
But then would HeroQuest
Yeah.
players spring to buy it and going, well, I'm just going to rip these pages out and I don't care about the rest, or well, I'll give this D&D
Look,
thing a try. Or maybe D&D players would go, oh, hey, I can play this with my friends. This other game. I don't want to play D&D. It's too long. It's too complicated. Well, guess what? There's a little HeroQuest page. You try that out.
I really see the product for Heroescape
Mhm.
plausible.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's so easy. You just release the box with cards inside there for HeroQuest and for HeroScape,
Yep. Same
and
box.
you sell it.
A battle
You
box.
know,
Yep.
okay, same box is let's say the army of Zargon,
Yep.
whatever. As a complete army, you have all the alternate figures for the Witch Lord, for Cassandra, or whatever, all the different
Rag.
character
Rag.
you want to have a.
Yep.
Hmm.
Gothar.
And yes,
Beret.
all these character they're going that you can play them as an army in the game. And at the same time, you can use the same miniature for HeroQuest.
Yep.
You're not forced to buy it in HeroQuest. They're just alternate
Hmm.
figures.
Yeah, and they could have it. You could buy it just in white, or I guess maybe in the original faction colors. You know, red for heroes,
Already
green,
printed.
white, or you could have the professionally painted version that costs a little bit more.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can get
Yeah.
in HeroScape. You can have
Imagine,
dual versions
imagine
of. Hmm.
alternate Venom.
Oh yeah, a painted dragon looks pretty
It's-
cool. Yeah, yeah, for sure. It would be
yeah.
easy to do, and it would test the waters to see like if these crossover types of games would be successful. Because as we've talked about before, when you mix it with something that has maybe nothing to do with tabletop fantasy, if it's like Scooby Doo Quest or GI Joe Quest or
Hmm.
Transformers Quest, it's like it's a really marginal product. Probably only collectors will buy it. Whereas this way,
Yes.
yeah, it's like, oh, I like HeroScape. I mean, it's really similar to HeroQuest. It's got some similar mechanics, similar themes. I could easily do this together and okay, I buy another game. They make more money. What's wrong with that? Now the if it was a collaboration with a totally outside company, that would be interesting too. Because okay, Renegade Game Studios does HeroScape, but it's licensed from Hasbro. Um, so it's not that big a deal. Whereas like something like Talisman actually is licensed from Games Workshop. So that's a collaboration that's already happened,
Yeah.
which makes me think, oh man, Space Crusade, Battle Masters, let's get them back. I know that's a long shot, and that's not really a crossover. Although I have over the Christmas break, um, I had a lot of fun because I played the trial, and I was the wizard, and the other person was the barbarian, and then I had two space marines that were like bodyguards that followed them around. And so they had their bolters for ranged attacks. So it's like they missed a lot when they fired. They almost always missed because I was using the black dice, and it's like they had to roll a white shield to get a hit. I didn't do the whole melee mechanic that could have been interesting, because it's like somebody attacks you and they can die because you're both rolling dice. But no, I just said, okay, they defend with two dice and they attack with two. Um, but I gave them each 6 body points, which is probably too much. But I mean, they took a lot of damage. And there was a funny part towards the end. The Zargon player was using the Evil Wizard deck, which of course is a homebrew, and he sealed off the door. So like the door slams shut, and then your attack misses, and it's
Wow.
like, oh no! And my Marine was in there, and it's like, oh, he's gonna die, and he's like, I had a toy sword, and so I just said, okay, he does this, and I did the. If you've seen the Dune movie, Dune Part One, where Jason Momoa does the salute with the
Hmm.
sword, right as the door closes, like he's gonna get killed by
Yeah.
the Harkonnens. He's like, and they're like, no, little role play moment. It was glorious, but no, he did survive barely, but he did survive. So it can be done. Is my point.
Yeah.
And if you just have that sort of creativity, sense of fun, sense of uh, imagination, you can do it. And HeroScape definitely it would be the proving ground for all this because it's the battle for all time. It's the Age of Annihilation. You have every faction you can think of, every type of fighter from history, from fantasy, you know, futuristic stuff,
Hmm.
ancient barbarians, robots, dinosaurs, all together. And dinosaurs are canon in HeroQuest now too, so you never know. Well, and then
Yeah.
they have the new Battle Masters, Battle Monsters with Godzilla. I don't know. I'd rather just see Battle
Yeah.
Monsters come back, but I mean, I bet the figures are cool.
Yeah. It's been a while that Jason is not showing in our games. I wanted to talk with him because I had like a little project to create like with the old rule of Battle Master. Okay, but just a way to convert it with a new miniature of HeroQuest.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Well,
like just create like a base where you can just plug your miniatures in these bases and play.
I'd like to see more.
To create some rules
Yeah.
for
Well,
all the new monsters.
oh yeah. Well, you saw what I did with the Battle Masters mounted goblins with a little piece of sticky
Yeah,
tack, and I put them on the backs of the raptors. Worked out pretty well. The scale is just about right. Before they rode wolves, so
yeah.
dino wolves.
Imagine the ogre lord in his face, like the old ogre taking. Yeah,
Wait, are you talking
okay.
about taking the modern ogre and like putting the old ogre on his
Yeah,
shoulders,
that's
like he
yeah.
rides his like blaster
No,
master from?
no. And
Oh, okay. That would be
I
awesome
talk, I
too.
talk about creating like bases, like the old one, okay, but smaller, so we can.
Oh,
It's possible to have
you're talking about the unit trays.
um
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Keep
yes,
talking. I'm
sorry,
gonna get it. I'm
the
gonna try to get a picture.
unit trays. Yes, the unit trays to make them a little smaller with the slots to put the new miniatures. Okay, and in that way you can play Battle Masters with the miniature from HeroQuest. And the help I needed from Jason was to write the different stats and abilities of all the miniature that we have from HeroQuest.
Yeah. The
So that way you can create different armies. You can
oh
have,
yeah.
for example, an armies with a unit of ogres, a unit of wolves, the Magus Guard. Uh, you got all these armies that can be used. A unit with the heroes. The barbarian, the wizard. Imagine a tray with the four heroes, the classic heroes all
Oh,
together.
that'd
Super
be cool.
strong.
Or give them all horses to ride. So
Also, yes.
I've seen many of these. So they sell these unit trays. Some people have 3D printed them, carved them out of wood, and you can
Mhm.
see like each of those. These are Warhammer figures, but they have their own integrated base. But you can like pop them out of the unit tray, or you can put them all together, so you can move them as one, as if it's a group, you know, of footmen or horseback or whatever. So it's easy enough to do, and yeah, like you say, it provides a little bit of flexibility. You can take the figures you already have, group them into bigger units, and play war games with them, rather than having to worry about, okay, the group is going this way, and then the dwarf has to come over, and you got to move each piece. It takes a lot to get them all moved. But yeah, it can be
And
done.
no,
It'd be cool.
to make it simple, like Battle
Ribby's
Master.
remarkable unit trays. Make it
Hmm.
so, as if we didn't have enough to 3D print. Well, you do some 3D printing yourself, so hey, whoever gets there first. If you ain't first, you're last. I'm just kidding. No, speaking of that, Ribby, we wish you well as well. I know you're going through some stuff, so hope it all goes well. Yeah, here on the Rantcast, we just worry about the geeky stuff. We don't worry about the real world stuff. But well, as we kind of go to our final thoughts on this, so first light any day now. I mean, any week now. When do you think we'll get Crypt of Perpetual Darkness? When do you think we'll get Wizards of Morcar? As we all think
By
it's
my
the winter.
prediction,
Yeah.
by my prediction was in Cannes, but at this point I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah.
think everything is going to be shifted because this delay. But I don't know. Maybe they recuperate a little
Yeah.
bit,
Well,
or they just put if they just depending if they hit the pause button
mhm.
or they delayed everything. Okay, I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know if I explain it correctly. You understand what they maybe suspend. They put everything in pause, waiting for the release of First Light. They had everything ready, but
Shit.
they cannot publicize it to because they don't want to ruin the release of First Light. So maybe everything is on schedule. Just the the how is it called? The presentation is delayed. Depend on that, because if the presentation is just delayed, yeah, I mean it's just in pause, pause February. February, if it happened already. They announce and then they release. Remember with Taylor and Spirit Queen, they did that. They announce it and release it the month after. So it's still possible. They release it early,
That photo sums
at
up
least
Gen
for
Con very
at
well.
least for
Sorry.
at least at least if they release Crypt of Perpetual Darkness first, and the probably May for
It's a good summer
is
month.
May is more probable.
Well, we'll see. I am curious. So none of I can't realistically afford to go to these other conventions, being where I am, except for Gen Con. And Gen Con is all the way in August. So by then, yeah, who knows? Depending on what it is, it'll be interesting to see what they show because I think we both commented on the fact that sometimes their marketing is kind of weird. They'll say, "Oh, it's the first time anyone has seen this," and it's like, you mean in this country? Like other people in the world have already seen it and played it, and maybe even bought it,
Yeah.
but they act as if it's never been seen before, and it's like, it seems a little fake. But I was trying to remember the timing of these other ones because yeah, you mentioned Cannes, that's one. Spiel, UK Games Expo, Modena Play. Rob Champ, 205 days to Gen Con. So,
Yeah,
okay.
modern play don't exist anymore.
Really? It's gone?
Yeah, they moved it in Bologna, another
Oh,
city.
so it's
It's
baloney
called
play.
Bologna Play.
Man,
Bunch of baloney, remember?
that's a bunch of baloney if I ever heard. Man, wow. Okay, can't make this up, folks. Some baloney game or another. Yeah, so there's all these other conventions, and it's just that we hear about the big ones, like Avalon Hill will be there and show off some stuff, or make an announcement, or we're waiting with bated breath and then they don't do it. Like PulseCon, there's rarely anything. If there's any, it's just like the smallest of teases, and then that's it. And they focus on
Nice,
the other stuff.
nice. Nothing else.
Yeah. So I wouldn't expect a whole lot there. And there's some other Hasbro convention. I forget what it's called, but it's like for members only or something. And so even less of a chance of anything because you have to pay to hear about it. So it's like, forget it. I mean, yeah, you got to buy a ticket to Gen Con, but you can watch it virtually. Other people, well, I guess other people report on it. We report, you decide, right? That's probably copyrighted. Audio Jungle, that one. But yeah, we got all these conventions. So they've plenty of opportunities, but you got to subscribe to Meeple Mountain only if you want to. Yeah, so courtesy of MeepleMountain.com. It's this board game convention schedule for 2025 to 2026. Well, like you say, First Light is a big deal. Once that is released, okay, we've got staggered release throughout Europe. Um, then people are going to turn their attention to what's next. Yeah, so either the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness leading up to Wizards of Morcar, or Wizards of Morcar and then Crypt leading up to something else. I mean, I don't necessarily think the cliffhanger ending has to be fulfilled by an actual product. Just like Skullmar gets away with the spell books. What happened? Who knows?
They need also to demonstrate the product they just bought
Hmm.
actually is producing something more. Okay, a DLC, a new stuff to
Yeah.
play.
Well, you could say that Mage of the Mirror led into Rise of the Dread Moon. Like you have an existing product, legacy product, and then something brand new. People were maybe more willing to accept it because it had a tie to the previous thing. So sure, they could do that. We could get something, yeah, either by Joe or having to do with dragons again, or Yeah. Could be something to do with wizards. I don't know. When Rise of the Dreadwind was coming out, I kind of worried at first because I thought, well, we just played Mage of the Mirror. We're gonna do all that again. Like that's gonna be boring. But quickly found out it was nothing like that. The themes were the same, but the quests were very different. And then by the same token, just because Stephen Baker gave us, a return to the Talisman of Lore, it's like, wait, how many times are we gonna get the Talisman of Lore? All it does is boost your mind points. Forget it. He gave us way more than that. And when we finally play it, I mean, lots of other people have played it. I've never played it. I've just read through it. But there's a lot of really cool ideas in there, a lot of interesting little developments and twists and turns. He clearly had a great time making it. And
Yeah,
that proves
it's
that,
kind of Baker's signature move anyway.
yeah, you,
Give
you
a
can,
backstory to an item.
sure, you can revisit something and still have a totally unique experience. Like, oh, if they made a quest where you go back to the trial part 2 and you fight Virag again, like they can make a whole expansion about it where it would be totally different. But just because of the title and the theme, it would just kind of make you interested. Like, how can they take this and make it into a quest back? Well, we'll find out. Yeah. Well, and as Doug said many times, and I was on the Covert Nerd podcast recently, and that's probably going to air this weekend, this coming weekend. Thanks. Shout out to Lee at Covert Nerd Podcast. We talked about a lot of this, made our own predictions about stuff, and we just talked about how, Doug told us repeatedly, if you want to see something, tell us, say it, scream it from the rafters, say it all over the internet, and those insights will be picked up. So if they ever run out of ideas, I mean, they're working on that 18-month schedule, and like you say, for all we know, it's been paused or delayed, diffused. They're still looking for stuff. They're still looking for what people want and ways that they can give that to us through these board game releases. So if they think everybody wants the Bard quest pack, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if everybody seems to want it and they're able to do it, they think it'll sell, they'll make it. So
Yeah.
keep stumping for Space Crusade. It's like, come on. Like release the Snyder cut, release the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. Okay, mission accomplished. Now let's get Space Crusade released, re-released. Maybe if they see people making their proxy sets, I mean, Games Workshop will be like, man, we can finally get rid of this big backlog of Space Marines that we've had just sitting around collecting dust that no one's buying. I'm joking about that, but you never know. So, all right, well, I'm starting to lose my voice, as you can tell. Any closing thoughts today for anybody in the chat there, or Bohemius? Any stuff, anything we forgot to cover? See it for the
I
next.
don't know. Probably just uh, the latest of the rumors. From the interview from Doug in Italy. When he said
Oh,
bro, they're thinking. You remember in Luca, we are talking about Luca
upgrade
when he said that they're thinking about like a leveling system.
leveling system. Ah, interesting. Wrestling moves, Doug. We need wrestling moves.
Yeah,
But
we need the legend
yep,
being canon.
yep,
Okay, and Grognak being one of the collection official heroes.
yeah, yeah. If you need Bethesda to sign off on the name, or you can just do what they do in wrestling, just spell it a little differently. So it's fine. Grognak the Legend. And then you'll need the Legend Killer to sneak up behind him and do the RKO and was looking out of nowhere.
The arch nemesis.
You know, the rattlesnake
An
sneaking
elf,
up. Ah!
an elfin loincloth.
Yes, yes, it could happen. Well, we have Rumble Slam wrestling. Oh man, what if there was a HeroQuest crossover with that? It's fantasy wrestling after all. You could have a tag team faction.
A giant belt of the wizard.
Yep, sure.
Spray tan.
Yep. He's got the long flowing hair. He's got the feather boa. Woo!
the,
You could do
the
it.
band for the ears.
Yep. There's so many things you could do. Yep. So there's lots of games out there that you could do crossovers, but it make the most sense. It would be the easiest, the cheapest for them to do something in house. So you've got Betrayal, you've got HeroScape, you've got Talisman, although that was a collaboration too. But yeah, you reach out, use your contacts with these other companies you worked with before, like Games Workshop, make something, and who knows, maybe one of these smaller groups would spring for it as well. Because yeah, you've got orcs and dwarves and wizards and stuff in Rumble Slam Wrestling as well. Rob Champ says, I'm going to call Avalon Hill and pretend to be a disturber. I'll get some info. RKO out of nowhere, says Ruby. Yep. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Strange Bus, hopefully we'll be back on the next one. We wish him well, of course. Stuff happens, life happens, but hopefully everything works out. And we'll get together real soon. And keep reporting that news. Keep those keep those rumors flowing. I mean, don't create rumors, but keep reporting the ones that you do hear.
Never create one.
Never create one.
Just put together two rumors. They make probably sound like a fake rumor, but people have to understand the difference between theory and rumor. Okay, I'm being very clear when I talk about theories.
Yeah, well, it's like Doug or Chris or Bill will tell us something, and then it's like he tells the joke, and it's like, get it, and it's just silence for 18 months, and then it's like, oh, now I get it. It's like, oh. So sometimes it's like that, or it's like, oh, he didn't mean the thing we thought. He actually meant this other thing. Oh, okay. It's like you watch the murder mystery movie, and at the end you figure out what it was. So then you rewind the movie to see, were the clues there all along, or were they just trying to fool me? So we'll keep. I like the guessing game though. I like the chase. I like the teases, the puzzles. I kind of wish we got more of that, but I guess we've got what we got. But without these leaks, yeah, it would just be long periods of silence with nothing in between.
Boring.
Boring. Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like we should end with a chant. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, we could get the whole convention hall chanting that if he happens to be there. It's like, oh no, he knows better. He's not going to get anywhere near these.
If you remember, I propose like a drone spectacle and for for Joe. Remember the drone spectacle to asking for we had a drone spectacle in New Jersey, whatever. There was everything was for Joe to push him to have the crypt release.
It worked. Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, we have all these schemes.
Was us.
We did it. Yeah. These crazy fans getting stuff done. Well, I did that thread. It was like, what have whining HeroQuest fans ever accomplished? Much. Many things. So whatever we're doing, we must be doing it the right way. So don't discount the fans. Yep. All right. Okay, well, everybody take care. Thanks for joining us on the Rantcast. Had one more of those, and I got to rest my voice. Everybody have a good night. Catch you next time. This weekend, we should be doing some streams. I mean, if First Light is on the topic, we may just have to talk about it. We may have to show it off, but we'll continue on. We'll finish up the Crypt, get on to the next thing, which is against the Ogre Horde. Keep on playing some Jungles of Deltrak. We got lots of that left. And we'll just keep on doing what we do. So we'll get Karl Casey back on to play us out. Oh yeah, let's see if we can do a raid.